Electric!
What's up, G-Light? What's up? What's up?
How's it going, man? How's it going?
Good, bro.
How's
I
Friday
guess
treating you?
We need to welcome the public to our podcast. That's been a whole
Yes, we're
24
doing the
hours in the making.
podcast. Lovely, yes. Whoever is listening, if
Yeah,
there is anybody. But anyhow,
yeah. We don't have a name for it yet, but we just go with it.
yeah, we just want to talk about football as football fans, man. For now, anyway. So we're going to talk about United today for a start. I'm sure
Hot
you have
topics.
something about that, as is very evident in the
Quite
wallpaper.
a bit. I have quite a bit to say about that.
Right. So we're going to at least a large part of today, at least, is going to be about Manchester United, and we'll talk about a few other things as well. We'll talk about the UCL towards the end. So tell me, man, tell me. Why don't you tell everybody when did you start supporting United? How long have you been a United fan?
Hmm
What is the current
Okay.
situation at Manchester United? What is your take on it?
Man, that's a bucket load of stuff to talk about, but okay, I'll try to do the best I can. Okay, so I started supporting United in I think around somewhere around December of 2004. I wasn't a big football fan at the time, and my best friend used to be like an Arsenal fan, whose brother was also an Arsenal fan. So they used to make me watch games together with them to
Right.
try to encourage me to watch football. So obviously their intention was to make me an Arsenal fan. So I saw like a couple of games, and as you guys know, Arsenal were like super unbeaten that time. They were like a very good team.
Yes, I think
Far
2004.
away.
I'm so sorry, but 2004 was the time when the rivalry was like just at its peak and
Yeah,
about to
it was
fall
it
off,
was the
right? Yeah.
invincible Arsenals.
Yes. The Invincible
Yeah,
Arsenals and
yeah,
Fergie just coming on and like reigning into Arsene Wenger's party, basically.
yeah. And it
Yeah,
was it was simultaneously on the other side. Chelsea were rising as well, but nobody thought they'd be as
yes,
big as. But
absolutely.
yeah, it just happened to be that one game that I saw with them at Highbury, where I think
Right.
Arsenal were 49 unbeaten, where everyone was like, "Oh my God, half a century of wins! I mean, like of an unbeaten run
Unbeaten,
and
yes.
everything." And bro, United just came and spoiled the party. Like
Right,
honestly,
right.
I began that game rooting for Arsenal because my friends were Arsenal fans, and
Yes, I
I
can
came out of
imagine.
that game as a United fan. Just out of a pure football point of view and a pure oh my god, they just fucked them up point of view.
Hmm.
And plus, I really enjoyed how that team played. Like what they had, like Van Nistelrooy, Rooney was like 18 at the time. Man, there was a lot going on for that team, and it just went up from there. So
Yeah, it
that's
was the
pretty
beginning
much
of
how I
everything.
convert.
Yeah, like not the
Yeah, it
beginning,
was the
the
beginning of
beginning of the
everything.
second phase. Like after the 1999 UCL win, after that, like the Giggs and the Scholesies and the Roonies and Fergie becoming probably the greatest ever, you could say.
Yeah, obviously,
Yeah,
obviously at that time I wasn't aware of anything. I just, I was like, "Gay football must kill." Like that's pretty much all,
right,
all the
right,
context I
right,
had.
right.
But yeah, man. So ever since then, I've been supporting United, and as you know, probably for like the last 6, 7 years, it's been a terrible, terrible thing. Like
Right.
I did not think things would get as bad as they have. I I mean, it's not easy to point at just one thing that went wrong. It's just like a colossal disaster at the moment, which doesn't look like it's going to improve anytime soon.
Hmm.
But I'll give you more information and my more of my opinions about United. But why don't you talk about a little bit about how you started following Liverpool?
Right. So my first Liverpool game that I ever watched, believe it or not, was the AC Milan final in '05.
Holy shit!
Yes,
What a
yes.
game to watch.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just like, like how you said that, oh, all I knew was these guys play some amazing football. I was just like, oh my God, what is that? Jurgen Klopp after the 4-3 win at City a couple of years back, you remember that game where
Hmm
Mo Salah
hmm
scored from half line? He said that, it's one of those games in his post-match press conference. He goes like, it's one of those games where people who are non-football fans, they end up watching it and they're like, that is why they watch that game, right? So
But those are the
literally,
best kind of games, right?
yeah,
Like
like that is why we
it's
watch
the best
football.
from a neutral point of view. Yeah, that's why you watch football. You don't just
Exactly.
watch them because you're like,
So
I have to support this team.
exactly, right? Like I mean, like I was watching with one of my girlfriends one day. I was watching a game like a couple of years back, and it was a boring game. It was like a 0-0 or 1-0. I think it was. it was Liverpool playing some sort of newly promoted team into the PL, but it wasn't one of their
Hmm.
great days. So it was a very tight game because they were defending deep, and my girlfriend was just like, "Why would you even watch this, right?" I mean, only if I could explain
Yeah,
to
yeah.
her that we watch 100 games to have to be able to arrive at that one game, which brings out the beauty of the beautiful game, essentially, right? So, and that was probably the most beautiful game in recent times, right? Like the AC Milan versus Liverpool game, like Rafa Benitez versus
Nah, man, you
Ancelotti.
guys have had better games since then.
No,
Like what? Like,
afterwards,
yeah,
yes, we
yeah,
did. Afterwards, yes, we did.
yeah, yeah.
But Liverpool has this tendency to create these magical European nights, right? Basically, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So, and that was like a very beautiful night. And so, I did watch the Barcelona United final as well, which I think was a year after that or before that, right? And
Yeah, we don't talk about
yes.
that.
So, so yeah. But then, so those were the two comparisons I had. So I started supporting Liverpool in the days of Dirk Kuyt and Arnie Risa and people like
Man, I
those.
still don't know how to say his name right. Like people
Yeah,
have pronounced
neither
his
do I.
name like 30 different. I till now think his name is Dirk Cute, like Cute. I
Right,
don't know,
right.
man. I don't know, but
No,
yeah, he was
I
there.
think it's Couch. I think it's Dirk Couch. Like, if I'm not wrong, I mean, at least like, I mean, even the commentators used to be very confused. They've changed his pronunciation
That's what I'm
twice.
saying. They used to say each commentator used to have his own spin on saying it. It was like their own
Yeah,
finesse that they had.
but great
But
player, I
yeah,
must
anyway,
say. Amazing player, like great player. Like, I mean, at least for
he
Liverpool, he
he
was like
played
a
for
perfect.
what, like a good 10 seasons, I think, or maybe a
A
little
little
less.
lesser than that, but yeah, a very large portion of his career was spent there. That's where he was recognized widely, and he didn't do much before or after, honestly. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's how it was. But great player, at least
Yeah.
for us, he was a great player. Of course, in comparison to others, there have been better, but for us, like he did what he was supposed to. So yeah, anyhow, but yeah, so that's how I started supporting Liverpool. Then
Mm-hmm.
there was this sort of slump, you could say, in in Liverpool as a whole after Benitez went away. We
Yeah,
were
yeah.
in a similar situation where United is at right now, post '05 actually,
I
where there.
hope that's the situation because that would say that United would bounce back. But then
Uh,
then again, when
Man,
you
I
see
think we've
Liverpool
been
back
very
in the day,
lucky. No, not lucky at least, but I think it was a very smart decision on FSG's part to
I think it
hire
was just
Jurgen
an
Klopp.
informed decision that was made. I feel like y'all were trying to do it, but I feel like y'all just got the right man at the right time
Yes,
and
and
gave him the right players that he
yeah,
wanted.
yeah, yeah.
And I mean, the first season of Klopp wasn't. I mean, where did Klopp finish in his first season? I think he only played
So
half a
he
season, right?
inherited a very bad team half a season through. Yes, so Brendan Rodgers was sacked when I think Liverpool drew a Merseyside derby, right? I think at Anfield, but
Yeah,
results
yeah.
were really bad before that. So on that day itself, so Jurgen Klopp at the time inherited a very shitty team. Number one, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Like if we just pull up comparisons between the first team that he played and today's team, it's like, oh my god, what has this man done?
That's completely different
Yeah,
team.
there's only one person. I think only I don't know if Milner was there or not. Milner until Lovren was
No,
with
no, I don't
Liverpool.
think
He
Milner
was
was there at that point of time.
no. I think Milner was signed by Brendan Rodgers, though I might be wrong. Right?
Probably just that year,
Yeah,
just when
just
he
that
got
year.
sacked.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I remember Miller played for City for a really long time.
Yes, he
I
did.
think
Yes, he did.
it was only I think Milner left and then they got Delft the next season. I think that's how it
Yes,
went.
absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, they signed Milner and Lovren. Lovren was the other player, but now he's not there either. So I think it's an
Man, I
entirely
used to
new.
love Lovren on FIFA. I used to play a lot of career mode back in the day.
Right,
And I
right,
used to love this. Like I remember he used to play for Southampton back in the day, I
right.
think.
Yes,
Or
he did,
Olympic
and he was
Lyon. I
great
think
at
yeah, before that
Southampton.
Olympic Lyon.
Yeah,
So I used to get him on FIFA career mode when he was at Olympic Lyon before that. And I just
right.
signed him for like pennies on the dollar, and then just like make him into like a 90 rated player and stuff. Crazy guy, crazy guy.
Yes,
His career has been quite up and down though, ever since like
he was
he's been at
amazing at
Liverpool. Although
Southampton. He was amazing at
no, like
Southampton. He had
he's been amazing in Liverpool in spurts. Like there's been times where he's looked really good, and there's been times when he's just like
yeah.
he's the one,
Man, the thing
he's
with
the
Lovren
culpable
is
one.
Yeah, he's great in some games, and then in some games he just throws it away. Like the team loses literally because of him, and I think that's where Jurgen
Yeah,
Klopp put his
it's
foot
I
down.
call that the Harry Maguire syndrome.
Right, right.
So
But
it's a
man,
disease
Lovren's
that's
a much
going on.
better
It's quite
defender
it's
than
quite
Harry
new.
Maguire. I'm so sorry to say that, but that's just true.
I can't even argue with that at the
Like,
moment. But
exactly.
anyway, let's
Yes.
let's move forward. Like
Yeah.
let's
No.
talk
So
about
just to
the
come
new age
back to
stuff.
what I was saying, right? So
Yeah,
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 about Liverpool, right? So I think that we were in a phase where United is at today, and we were lucky, or it was an informed decision. But a lot of things had to play in Liverpool's favor. Like we went through iterations
yeah.
of managers before we arrived at the manager, and even he
No,
came
you
with his
guys
own.
went through owners as well, man. There were like what? There were like two different sets of owners
No,
until
owners,
the
not really. Like FSG has been here for the last 12 years, I believe now, 10 to 12 years. So yes, we did go through owners as well, post
no.
'05.
I'm saying in between that time since y'all had Rafa
Yeah,
to
after
now.
Rafa is when
I
FSG bought Liverpool, right? And that
okay,
really helped. They applied the Boston Red Sox. They also own the Boston Red Sox. So they applied the same
okay,
sort of
okay.
rules and principles that have worked in terms of like having to have a small budget club and make it profitable, like increase its value. Like Liverpool's worth 3 times more than what FSG bought them at the time, and they've still been able to win all these trophies, not spending as much money as a City or a United. So they applied
Yeah,
those
yeah, yeah.
same principles that had worked for them with the Boston Red Sox into the Premier League, basically. So I think it's great work that FSG has done. Of course, Klopp is of course now a club legend. He'll probably have a mural made of him outside Anfield.
Oh,
But
he has to
yeah,
definitely.
he has to.
Unless
I think
unless
he's
he
a
does
magician.
something like super weird that you'll have to like erase him from
No, even
history.
then, I believe
Uh,
he's almost knocking on the door of Bill Shankly and Bob Paisley. Like he's the only one we've had after that, basically. Apart from
but
that, that's
he's the
all
only
Liverpool.
one that's made y'all relevant again, man.
Exactly, exactly. So I think he's a magician. Like had it not been for Jurgen Klopp, you would have still been in the same place as where United are today or where we were yesterday. So to move
Yeah,
ahead,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
that's how I came about supporting
yeah,
Liverpool.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
a diehard fan, as you
Let's
can tell.
transition to
We should
United now
transition
since you
now. So
mentioned
let's
that
come back to
already.
the
What?
United topic, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Wherein,
yeah, yeah.
what do you think is their current situation? What do you think about Ollie? What do you think? Where do
I
you think it's
think
headed?
okay. All right. So I've
Right.
read like I mean, obviously I have a lot of friends who are United fans as well.
Mhm.
I would say I'm more of a pessimist than most of them, but then
Right.
again, that makes me more of a realist as well. So what's happening right now is that Ollie Gunnar is totally out of his depth. He's getting found out by teams that United should be comfortably beating, let alone losing.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, and I think we're just having like we're winning against teams that we ideally should be tough games, and we're winning them quite comfortably.
Mhm.
So I don't know. It's a very weird situation. But then
Mhm.
again, at the same time, I'm not seeing the tactics. I'm not seeing what exactly the manager or the coaches are trying to do at the same time. And what most United fans these days are saying, I mean, like, um, I thought this might have been the case maybe 6 months ago, but watching like, the current way that we're playing football and stuff, it doesn't suggest that, that United are just in this predicament because we did not sign Jadon Sancho, because we didn't sign someone else or this person or that
Right.
person.
I don't think
Yeah,
he
it's
has a
not just about
philosophy. You're right.
signings.
I don't think he has a philosophy that he can stick by, basically.
Yeah. And the thing is, I feel like I feel like it's not only Ollie who's under pressure at United. I feel
Mhm.
like look, man, everyone's like the Glazers don't care. They just want to take their paycheck and they want to leave. They don't care about success and all that stuff. But at the same time, think about it. You put yourself in their shoes for a bit, okay? Now, obviously, what two years ago, Mourinho got sacked. Okay.
Right.
I don't know. Players stopped
Huge
rooting for him
mistake,
or
though, in
whatnot,
my
whatever.
opinion. Huge mistake. But anyhow, go ahead. Yeah.
We'll get to that.
We'll
We'll get
get
to
to
that.
that. Yes. Yes.
I'm just like strictly talking about the predicament that the Glazers were in,
Right.
and why I think Ollie's not getting back.
Right.
Um, so think about it. You sign one of the best managers in the world, arguably.
Mhm.
Obviously, results were not there. Maybe that was the players, maybe the manager. I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm not claiming that I know. But then again, okay, you get rid of that manager and you look at the managerial market and there's literally no one available. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
the fans are turning against you. The fans are pissed. So I mean, great PR move. What they decide to do is, why don't we get an ex-United legend who is who does have managerial experience, let alone in, like, I mean, the Norwegian league, which is basically a farmers league.
Yeah,
Um,
no shit.
so they're like, yeah, we'll get him in here and give him 6 months. I mean, at least they're not going to hate. At least we're trying.
Mhm.
Maybe like, and automatically that created like a little bit like of a romance story. With United and the fans and the manager. That Ollie, the man who won us the 1999 Champions League, is going to take us back to glory. Okay. I don't think Glazers for 1 second also thought that Ollie would manage to achieve what he did in those 6 months.
Right.
I strictly believe he was just an interim manager who would have gone back to Mulder. I think he was basically a manager on loan at the time from
Yeah.
that club. I
Yeah.
think he would have
Yeah.
just gone back to his old club because United just didn't have a coach at the time.
Right.
So I think it was quite clear that United were looking at Pochettino at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whether you like Poch or you don't like Poch, I still feel like he's more qualified than Ollie, although he's not won trophies and stuff. But I mean, has Ollie
Mm-hmm.
in like a proper league? No, right? So it was a bit of a confusing thing, and I mean, I'm sure most people know this, but in case they don't, that Ollie went on like what, like a 12 or 13 or 14 game winning streak during those 6 months
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
at United, and that just made the job so much harder because at that point of time, how are you going to justify letting this man go?
Right.
Like how?
Right.
Like what more does he have to do to earn the job?
Right.
But
Right.
I feel like the players just massively overperformed during that time because I feel like they were playing for their lives because
Mm.
they had a point to prove that, you know what, we were sick and tired of Jose and his antics and all that shit. I think there was a clear falling out in between the players and Jose Mourinho during his time at United, that the players just started to overperform right when he left.
Right.
And
Right.
especially, I think the PSG game was where it really just like it was set in stone, that Ole Gunnar would be staying as United manager because what more do you have to do? You've
Mm.
beaten PSG. They lost 2-1 at home, and they beat them 3-1 away, and no other European team has managed to ever do that. Like,
Man, but let me just say
uh,
this here, let me just say this here. Ollie has this tendency where, he'll just perform, he'll just make sure that the team plays like shit. He will change systems,
mhm.
right, for 10 games, and then there will be a high pressure game and he'll play a certain system. And because, I totally believe that United have the quality of players on the pitch, which is even more
Yeah,
testament
yeah,
to
yeah.
how shitty a manager Ollie is, right? But he'll just do this sort of wizardry or witchcraftry on United fans and like the United board where he'll win a huge game, right? And then they can't sack him for another 3 months. And
Yeah, man,
fans like
because
you are
you're
left
beating.
hoping.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
at the end of
it,
the
it,
day,
it,
he
it's
doesn't
it's
have a
actually
philosophy.
worse. It's
It's
worse than losing
but
because
it's absolutely
at least
right
when you're
what you
losing,
said.
you're like, get rid of him.
Yeah, no, but it's right what you said. Like much like Poch or like Ollie, and like being a Liverpool fan and knowing about how the transition to Jurgen Klopp happened, you need a manager who's got a tested system. Like Klopp had the heavy metal gegenpress football, right? Or Conte has his defensive style of playing, right, which is very tactically, even though he's shitting, a little bit at Inter currently, like in recent form. But at least he has an
Yeah, yeah,
identity
yeah,
that
yeah.
he sticks by, right? And you need someone who's compatible for United, who's proven that he can win trophies playing one style of
See, it
football
doesn't
that's worked out for
just
himself
because
as
you're
a
in a
manager.
high pressure situation doesn't
Yes.
mean that you're not allowed to struggle. Okay, everyone is going to struggle. No one can win every single game
Yeah,
unless you're
and like
Hansi Flick
being a football manager was
with
the
Bayern Munich.
highest attrition sort of job ever. Like no other job that is so high paying fires people as quickly as the turnout ratio, like the turnover ratio and the churn ratio of football managers. So the thing is, it's just high stakes. That's all. Like you're allowed to
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
allowed to not perform, but the stakes are very high. And the bigger the
yeah,
club,
yeah.
the higher the stakes. Because the
No,
stakeholders
and
like the
and the thing
fans
is,
and the board. Yeah.
yeah, if I can just chime in here.
Sure, sure.
Um,
Yeah.
the thing is, a lot of United fans are saying that no, we have to stick by our manager. We have to because you know what the excuse is that like 30 years ago, Sir Alex Ferguson, when he wasn't a sir,
Right.
had struggled for his first 2 or 3 seasons, and he was
Right.
on the verge of getting sacked, and then he won that one FA Cup, and
Right.
then that propelled him into the next season, and he got some success. And he built upon that, he built upon that, he built upon that. But people need to understand that lightning doesn't strike twice. And also, in this day and age, you cannot, time is of the essence. You don't have that kind of time. Plus, given the pandemic, the amount of losses that clubs have incurred,
Absolutely.
it's
Yes.
it's just not a normal environment. And plus, United being okay, I'm not going to say United are the biggest football club in the world. I will say
Mhm.
United are the biggest football corporation, at least right now on paper.
Yeah, you could. I would possibly agree. I mean, they've been a listed
Not
company
from a
for a very
football
long
point of
time.
view. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. They're
As a
huge
brand,
on the
yes.
revenue
As a
streams.
brand, yes.
As a
Absolutely.
brand, they're one of the largest, like most valuable
They're like the
entities out there. But from
mascots, they're like the mascots of football around the world where, if they don't have the club or community culture like in places like England or otherwise in Europe. Like,
I'm sorry. I just remembered one thing.
yeah.
Arsenal couldn't afford their mascot.
Yes, I remember that.
Recently, they let go of Gunnosaurus because of COVID,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
they're
this
paying
is
they're
that's.
paying
Oh,
Ozil
wait,
three
you're
hundred
saying
and
this is
fifty
this
million to
recent.
sit on the bench.
You're saying this is
Yeah, yeah,
this
yeah. That was like
recent. Oh, okay. I
this
didn't
was
know
like
that.
1 or 2 months ago. This
Right,
is one or two
right.
months ago. Gunnosaurus got let go.
Man, okay, we'll come to Arsenal as well at
Yeah,
some
yeah.
point, if not today. But yes, go
So
ahead.
anyway,
Go
let me
ahead.
just
Yeah,
let me just finish my point on Ollie.
yeah.
So what I was saying was, if you're in the Glazers' shoes at that point of time, okay, it's a
Correct.
tough predicament. Now you can't. The fans are gonna fucking crucify you if you don't give this man the job. So
Mhm.
they do it. But then again, it's a highly conservative approach. You cannot give someone a backing. And honestly, um, Oli Gunnar can't really attract the players that we want. Let's just be very honest. You're not going to get a frigging like okay, maybe Jadon Sancho because he's young, but like
Yes.
you're not going to get him on the cheap. There's very few players that are going to be like no what I believe in the project at Manchester United. I don't even think one person in that fucking football club believes in the project. Man, they're just here to earn money.
You'd be dreaming,
It's
my friend.
simple.
You'd be dreaming with the
Yeah, you'd
current
be dreaming. I'm
projects
like as
happening
a
in the PL. No way. Like honestly, I don't need to be disrespectful, and I believe that United have done much greater
it's
things.
not
But
disrespectful if it's the truth, man.
yeah, so
Trust
just
me.
hard facts, and I like to speak hard facts rather than being a romanticist, as you were saying in the start of the
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah, yeah.
People would want to work for Mikel Arteta, like play for Mikel Arteta. Then they would want to play for United, considering the current state that they're in.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm always a little wary about Arsenal. Like,
Even I am, but I'm just saying,
like,
like what he's doing currently, and with the Community Shield and the FA Cup, and Oba signing and things like that, he seems to have a philosophy. He seems to have learned
man.
under
But
Pep.
I don't know. To be very honest, I have not been watching much Arsenal
Yeah,
over the
yeah.
last couple of months, so I really can't comment. But then again,
Okay, let's talk about it after
fixes have been
you've watched
inconsistent.
a few of the
Yeah, yeah.
games and
So let
and
me
thought
just let me
after.
just
Yeah.
finish. Let me just finish the point about the Glazers.
Yes. Yes.
So okay, we bought. They gave him Harry Maguire for 80 million. That
Right.
that steal that steal of a man. That
Yo, that's a fraud,
um
man. That's a fraud. That's a
like
fraud.
80 million fucking.
They
I don't
should be
think he's.
suing
I don't.
Leicester. I think they just
Yeah,
Leicester knew that we're ripping the largest brand off in the world, and like this is
yeah.
really
That's
cool.
it's such a rip off. It's such a rip off. Like I can't believe it, dude. We got sold a lemon, dude. Like it's not even funny. Okay. This man is a lemon. I can't like emphasize more on that. Okay, shit player. Okay, Wan Bissaka was a good signing. I still feel like he'll do great for United.
He's a great
Um,
player. One on one, he's one of the
yeah,
best sort of wing backs in the country
yeah,
currently
yeah.
in the EPL.
Um,
Yes,
Bruno Fernandez, I feel like we should have signed him a lot earlier than we did.
right.
Okay, so there has been certain amount of backing,
Hmm.
but then again, there's no. Again, okay, so most of like okay, apart from Bruno and Van Bissaka, I don't think any of our other signings really performed. Okay, like
Hmm.
Daniel James again looks like he's out of his depth.
Right. I think
Whoever else
Greenwood's
was
way
there,
better. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, Greenwood's a youth player, man. He's gonna be a superstar. Trust me.
Yeah, essentially. I mean, you can
Maybe
hope. You
not
can
at
hope
United,
so.
considering how things are
Yeah.
going, man. Like he'll
I
probably
mean,
just leave. like
I'm not
Madrid
going
or
to make
something.
my opinion so soon about Greenwood because he needs to perform in the UCL and
No,
with
no, no,
some
no.
consistency.
I'm telling you, bro. That guy's got something in him. Like
He
I
needs
see it.
some
I
consistency
definitely see it.
currently, man. Like if he strings together like okay, last season he put in some 15 goals if I'm not wrong, which is great, like for a player as young as
For
him.
an 18-year-old, that's frigging fantastic.
Yeah, but if he can do that again, if he can give me consistently 2 or 3 seasons with 10 plus goals, then I'll be like, yeah, he's a good player. He's
I
a,
think
he's a
he can do
player
it.
that
I
any
think he
club
can
would
do it.
want. Yeah, yeah.
But
And
no, no, but mark my words.
but
Trust me,
basically my point
he's
was
gonna be a
that
bigger talent.
Greenwood basically cancelled out Daniel James's place in the United squad, essentially, right?
But then again, Daniel James is like that one FIFA player that only like if I give you a controller and only R2 works in the controller, that's Daniel James.
Right,
That's literally all you get. Okay.
right,
So anyway, coming to this season, okay,
right.
United they signed. Okay, we signed Cavani, we signed Van de Beek,
Hmm.
we signed some Palestri guy who I don't know much about, and I don't think
Yeah,
anyone
and
does.
Alex Telles.
Uh, Alex Telles, who's a great player, but I think he's injured right now.
Right,
But yeah, even when he wasn't injured, I don't know why Ollie wasn't playing him.
right.
But then again, you see that okay, there this I'm guaranteeing you, apart from Alex Telles, none of these other players were required at United. Okay, people are going on about squad depth. People are going on about this, that, this, that.
But
I'm
Van de
like, bro,
Beek is a
fix
good
your
signing,
first
right?
team.
Van de
He's a
Beek
good
is a good
signing,
signing.
but then again, it wasn't. You spent what I think about 30 or 40 mil on him.
Hmm.
You could have put that money aside and you could have put some more money in someone else who you actually needed.
So
You
Van de
need
Beek
that
is like
that
this
prolific
attacking. He's a CM, right? He's this attack. He's not a
man. He
CAM,
was
but
playing defensive midfield last to last night.
no, I understand that, but that's only because, as you said, there's sort of overcrowding of players in that position. But he's more attacking than he's like a Paul Pogba, basically, right? Like another version of
Man,
him, like if
to
I'm
be
not wrong.
very honest, we didn't need an extra Paul Pogba at United. We in fact didn't even need the one that we have currently. Like trust me, bro. Like if you have okay, let's say you meet a girl, yeah,
No,
and
just one
she's all
second.
you've ever
Before you
wanted.
come to the Pogba
Yeah.
conversation, isn't Van de Beek, I'm just asking a question, isn't Van de Beek an upgrade on McTominay or Fred, for example?
They're different players.
Yeah,
Van de Beek
exactly.
is
That's what
not
I
a
meant.
holding player.
He's not a
He's not a
holding
holding
player.
player.
Van de Beek isn't, he's supposed to be more creative, even though you have Bruno over there, but he's basically
Look,
supposed to be one
he's
of
a
those
central
attackers.
midfielder
Right,
who predominantly plays in those attacking holds.
right.
Okay,
And he
but he
knows
can
how to,
play in
he's got a
central
goal
midfield.
inside him, right? He's got a goal in him, like basically.
Yeah, he relies heavily on movement. He can make you a goal. He can put some
Right,
nice long balls in.
right,
But
right.
again, he's a
So
young
to come
player.
back
He
to
needs time
Pogba,
to
I'm so
adjust.
sorry. Tell me about Paul Pogba,
Uh,
man.
Wait, actually, let me finish my Ollie point.
Right,
Okay,
right. The
as the
number of
Glazers
issues at
go,
United, man, United has got more issues than Vogue as of today. Like, what the fuck?
yeah.
Go ahead, go
So,
ahead. Sorry.
yeah, when you're the Glazers right now, and you see that this man is out of his depth, you can't give him more stuff, man. You cannot just keep buying him things and hope, like throwing money at him till the problem is sorted. I think it's a very calculated decision that
Right,
they know he's going to fail this season. Okay, and
right.
plus United, as a company, don't have that much money to spend, although they have spent a little bit. I feel like they are completely relying on the next season.
Mm-hmm,
Okay.
mm-hmm.
I mean, how much we ever hate the Glazers, but they're businessmen. They have to realize there is a certain variance volatility model that they use
Oh
on
yes,
in
of
making
course,
their
and they're
decisions,
hard-nosed
man. There's
businessmen. Like that. They also like
yeah,
it
yeah.
comes
It's
in the
it's
middle
all
of
about the
footballing
numbers.
decisions, on sporting decisions. It comes in the middle of it as
Yeah,
well.
and I don't think if you give Ollie a Jadon Sancho suddenly it just changes. We're just not going to start playing great football, you know.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
So I
absolutely.
feel like it's all a ruse just because they know he's going to get sacked. I don't think Ollie's going to make it to Christmas. I would be very very surprised. Okay, so
I
that
hope
ends my
so, man.
point about
I hope so, but
yeah.
like you're just not
I hope
firing
so
him.
because you
I would
can't
have
just
fired him
fire
long
him. I
back,
think. I
honestly.
mean, personally, I wouldn't have kept him after the 6 months, but I mean,
Yeah, no
you
shit. That was
couldn't
like the
not. Okay,
perfect night
even
to fire him.
I'm not gonna deny it. Even I was rooting for him during that time. But
Right.
yeah, coming to Paul Pogba, the
Yeah.
major flag in United's team. Now, bro, think about it. Let's say you meet a girl, okay? This is very pretty girl, exactly
Right.
how you wanted. You
Right.
think
Right.
you're so compatible, okay?
Right. Right.
And it's lovely. You start dating. She's your girlfriend. It's great.
Early honeymoon
Suddenly,
period.
after,
Yes.
yeah, early honeymoon period, okay?
Everything is
Suddenly,
good.
after 3 months, you realize that she's a freaking psycho, okay?
She's got those crazy
You,
eyes, bro. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, she's cuckoo. Do you
Right.
think you're gonna? I mean, it's it's not good for her and it's not good for you. It's not a great relationship. Sometimes you just got to break it off. United is like that very. I mean, see, United is like the guy, and Pogba is that very pretty girl who was the girl of his dreams, who had this romantic story that this person would come back to United and kill it.
Face. I can imagine him, spotting someone who's spotting him at a gym.
Well,
Like
clearly
he
you're
just
not
be like,
happy about the pretty girl analogy
yeah, that's
because
all I'm
like you don't
saying.
look that
He's
great,
not
man.
even a pretty girl for United. But anyhow, go
No,
ahead.
but that's a relationship that I just
Yeah,
feel like
because
it
figuratively,
needs
he's
to
not that
end.
great a player either. That's what I mean when I say that he's not even a pretty girl.
He is a great player. He's just not a great player at
Okay, let
United.
me say this.
He's
Let me
just
say this. Okay, at Juventus, like he's like that player, all right, who you do not build a team around. He's the player, like look at him at France, all right, look at him at Juventus. He always performs because he's given the freedom to do what he wants to do. You do not give him responsibilities of attack and defense and building a team around him. No, Paul Pogba is like this amazing
Mhm.
player, technically very gifted, who you should have in the team just because he's like this. How do I compare it? Like like you tell me. Like there have been players in United like Nani, right? Who chip in with a goal, who are great all around the pitch, right? But there are people doing the dirty work around him
More,
for him to
I
shine.
think what you're trying to say, yeah, they're more complementary players.
Exactly,
They complement
exactly.
but you need to have a team for that. Have you seen the stills from the game against Basak Tahir?
Yes, I did,
Have
of
you seen?
course.
Did you see United's defense?
Oh my God, where do I even begin? But
And,
like you go
and
ahead.
okay, now you tell me, how do you give Pogba freedom that you do your thing? You
Right.
can rely on the other players when three defenders are all like, I don't even know what the hell they were doing, man. Schoolboy defending. Like, we
Yeah,
used to play in
it's
school, and as a defender, you have to stay in your position. Okay, chalo, fullbacks can go aage, but then someone has to come, no?
what I don't
Like, somebody
understand
needs
is
to
is
be.
that 11 minutes. It's 11 minutes 30 seconds on the clock, right? You're playing away, if I'm not wrong, away on a big Champions League night, all right, under pressure where you have to make it out of the group, right?
Yeah,
And there is nobody. There is nobody on the halfway line. You've got 9 players inside the box on a corner. And that's a
I
problem
just
with.
feel like
That's all his fault. You understand? Like that means they're not
yeah,
drilled in
that's
training.
being tactically incompetent. It's
Exactly,
it's
exactly.
simple. It's
Exactly.
simple.
But
And
if you
and and
don't give
another thing is,
If you don't give Paul Pogba the freedom like he had in Juventus, you will not see the magic that he created at Juve or the goals that he scores at France. At the end of the day,
I'll
Paul
I'll be very
Pogba is a
honest
World
with you.
Cup winner.
United cannot afford that. We don't have the system, the philosophy for him to succeed. We don't have the other players that can be relied upon.
Right,
Okay,
right,
and I just feel like it's a relationship that needs to end. I feel
right.
like that man can go make his career somewhere else. I feel like he deserves a lot
He
better.
deserves it. Yes,
Okay.
absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, and I feel like United deserve a lot better as well. I just feel like it's a relationship that's soured. That
Hmm.
that every and I feel for the guy, man, because every time United plays badly, he becomes the scapegoat. But that's
Hmm.
not fair, bro. There's 11 almost all the time. There's maybe like 9 out of 11 players who have been shit, and then Paul Pogba gets all the blame. Bro, in the last game, Bruno was absolute trash. He was trash. But then again, he performs from time to time. Then again, he's still only what 6 7 months old now at
Yeah,
United.
yeah,
You can't
yeah.
just can't expect him to like keep scoring goals for you all the time. Yeah,
Right.
he did, but you can't expect him to do that all his life, man. But anyway, man, enough about United, man. That's enough like
No, but like I
toxicity
mean,
for
I
today.
would like to stick to United, because I have.
You
So
want to
what do you
stick to?
think?
You're enjoying this. You're
Yes, of
enjoying
course I
this
am. Of
Liverpool
course I am. No, because
scouse.
there is a lot to talk about, but I just want to give a really quick point on the Bruno part. Like Bruno is a great player, right? The difference between Pogba and him, even though he's just 7 months old, is that he does what he was signed to do. He provides assists. He creates gameplay, for example, right? And
I'll be very honest with you. It's
he
it's
works
because
hard
he's
on the
new and
pitch.
shiny.
Right,
No, no,
right.
he's new and shiny. Even Juan Mata, when he's got signed from
Yeah,
Chelsea, was
yeah,
great for those initial 6 months to a year.
yeah.
After that, they look around them and they see the environment that they're in, and they
Right.
see the lack of fucking the lack of success, the lack of confidence, the
Mm-hmm.
lack of any sort of determination.
Mm-hmm.
And bro, it has an effect on you. You know, you are only as good as the kind
The,
of people
the,
you chill
yeah,
with,
surround yourself with.
like your
Yes.
teammates.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
why,
yeah.
you look at
That's how
Diogo
it is.
Jota, for example, like the hat trick that he scored a couple of nights back and how he's been performing in the last 4. He scored like 10 goals in 6 games. And my Liverpool
But
friends, my
yeah,
fellow Liverpool fan friends, right? They told me, like, I told those guys, I was like, man, I watched this guy play based on the eye test, right? Like what he did at Wolves. He is a Jurgen Klopp player. Like, I was like, I'm getting Sadio, and it's early to say this, right? Because Sadio Mane, I think, is one of the best players around right now in current form. Like, I can't say he's better than Mo Salah because Mo Salah's numbers are just out of this world. But as a if I was a defender, I would despise playing Mane because he's just so versatile. Like he can cut in, he can
yeah,
do
yeah,
just
yeah.
he
That's
can do
definitely.
random things that nobody else can imagine that he can do, and he can see the game 3 passes forward. So he's got too much of versatility, like in the way he scores his goals, the manners in which he does it, his dribbling, the tricks that he does, playing off a defender's shoulder. He's an amazing player. But he is that Sadio Mane-esque player, like that Jurgen Klopp saw those attributes in him. And, Jurgen Klopp has this tendency of having to develop players, Trent and
But
Salah and Mane.
he's got an idea of what he's looking for.
No,
I
all those
feel
is
like
fine. There are a lot
United
of
are.
great things to talk about Klopp. But what I'd say about Klopp is that he picks up players and then makes them great. Like Lewandowski would not have been Lewandowski had it not been for Klopp. You remember those 4 goals he scored in the semi-final against Real Madrid.
Yeah, against Madrid. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's when he
I
was
remember
born,
that.
right? So same goes for now
Yeah.
Salah, Mane, Trent, Robertson, Van Dijk. So Jurgen Klopp has this tendency. He's got this sort of principle inside him that I will look at attributes of players who fit into my system and
Mhm.
then make them great, and instill that teamwork inside them. But I told my fellow Liverpool fans that do not underestimate Diogo Jota, and they said that there is no space here. This is the best front three in Europe in the last 3 years, arguably, right? And I was like, man,
Mhm.
you'd be surprised, because Klopp has been looking for another addition to his front three. He wanted to bring Mbappe from Monaco to Liverpool. They share a very nice relationship. That's why you heard these rumors and stuff. At the time, Liverpool did not have the money.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I was hoping that with the Nike deal, he would come. But he's now. It was after the window
yeah, yeah,
closed that Mbappe said that I want to leave the. He submitted a request to PSG that I want to leave the club next summer. But he signed Jota, and everybody said 40 million and this and that. I was just like, man, Klopp knows, right? And you see what he's doing right
He's
now.
has Jota scored more goals than Firmino this season? Just correct me if
Yeah,
I'm wrong.
yeah. Jota has scored more goals in 2020 than Firmino has
And
in the whole year.
he's playing in the same position, right, as Firmino.
Yeah, he's playing. So he's supposed to be a winger, but he's not going to replace the wingers at Liverpool currently. So he's playing.
Oh no,
He's
no,
playing.
that's not.
Yeah. So
But
he's playing
it gives
striker.
you a versatile player, man. You can, eventually in a year, probably I think you will have to let one of Salah or Mane go.
No, I
It's
don't think he
it's
let
just a
Salah or Mane go.
it's
I think he
it's
let
a
Bobby
business
go.
decision, man.
No, I think he let Bobby go. So if Salah and Mane go, it will only happen because Mbappe is coming to Liverpool and they have to finance that deal, right? So either
Um,
Salah or
Wait,
Mane.
isn't Mbappe out of contract next summer?
Yeah, he is. He's submitted a request to PSG that he wants to leave next summer. So
So what's I mean, you don't really have to fund the transfer, you just have to pay him,
no,
no?
no. I mean, if he's either they renew the contract, he won't come on. If he comes on free agent, like man, that's a steal for Liverpool. Like I mean, I fear the rest of the
No,
clubs.
that's like a Lewandowski to buy on right there. Like
Yeah,
that's
exactly. Right. So I mean, I
yeah,
fear
yeah.
the PL for the next 5 years that Klopp is still at Liverpool. 4 years if Mbappe comes into this team. But
But
like
he's built. You see, his team is evolving. His philosophy is not changing. He's sticking to the same thing, but he's getting new players to make it more dynamic, to make it more
oh, my friend, you'd be
eye
surprised at how
catching.
much he's adapted. Like so the last year when we won the
Yeah,
PL.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so he had a way of playing the year before, like 2 years back when we won the CL and we came so close to winning the PL, right? Despite them winning the CL, if we would not have won the Champions League that year, it would have been very demoralizing for this team, you know. And we would have probably gone down that road where we would have lost another player like a Salah or a Mane, like we lost Coutinho.
You guys would have probably been like just like chokers for long
Yeah, we would have
after
still
that.
been called
If
those
you would have lost
chokers,
that.
and Klopp would have lost his seventh final in a row, and things like that. So it would have been very difficult. But despite them winning the CL, Klopp and the rest of the squad just took it very personally that City beat them by a point, despite the great season that they had. Like probably
Speaking of adapting to the Premier League and
right, right,
Manchester City,
right.
what do you think is wrong with Mr. Guardiola? Do you
Bro,
think
I
he's out
think
of his
Pep.
depth?
I think Pep is Pep is actually out of his depth. Like when he said that Ollie's out of his depth, he never had any depth, in my opinion.
I mean, all he did, yeah,
Right,
yeah,
but Pep
Pep
is out
had
of his
depth.
depth. Pep
All he's like a
is
kiddie pool.
yeah, Pep is a sincere example of a manager who's out of his depth. And I just feel that like his like tiki taka was great when it worked, but it worked only with that Barcelona team. And of course, I still
I think
consider
he's the
him a
one
great.
found out.
No, let me just land here. I think he's one of the greatest
Yeah.
managers in recent times in modern history, because he invented this sort of style of play, which is not just used by his teams anymore. Tiki taka was something that was much bigger than gegenpress or any other system that managers have brought into the Ancelotti had his famous Christmas tree, the 4-3-2-1, that he played with Milan and then with Madrid and things like that, which brought about a new style of
Yeah.
play. So tiki taka was used by Spain, by this, because of course a lot of the players of that great Spanish football team were from Barcelona, but it was used by international sort of teams. It was used by different clubs in the PL after that. People, any team that have got players with technical proficiency, which and I think the La Liga is the one league which has got like most technically gifted and developed players, because that's just how the La Liga is. Like if the PL is like the most competitive league in the world, La Liga is probably the most technically efficient league in the world. So they produce more
Yeah.
technically
Yeah.
advanced
I
players.
can agree
They'll
with that.
produce a Thiago. Their academies will produce a Thiago, or they'll produce a Messi, right? That's difficult to do in the English sport. Like English players, when they come on the academy system, they're more like they're more physical, and they're more goal scoring, and they're more ice cold, and it's more about like the intensity of the game rather than the
But
technicality.
that's the thing, right? That's the thing about England. Like
Yes.
you've gotta, if you're a youth player who's coming through, you've gotta hit the ground running. Like for
Yeah,
example, how Mason Greenwood has,
yeah,
he's got a starting 11 spot now.
yeah,
That's the only way you can do it. Like
yeah, yeah,
there's so many old Chelsea players who were good enough. Like that guy Nathan Ake
yeah,
was a Chelsea youth player.
yeah,
He signed for City this season.
yeah.
That's
So
crazy. Because
but just
they
yeah,
sorry,
say,
go on,
say.
go on.
No, go ahead. Borake, yeah.
Okay, no. So I was like, so they tried him out. Obviously, he was scrawny. He was younger
Mm-hmm,
that time.
mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
they just loaned him out, and then I think Bournemouth bought him. If I'm not sure,
Yeah,
Bournemouth.
Bournemouth. Yeah, yeah. He came to
Yeah,
City from Bournemouth.
yeah, yeah, and he did fucking great, dude. For like what two
Yeah,
or three seasons that he was
yeah,
there,
yeah,
and then City saw the talent right there. So I just feel like they get lost in the shuffle, and
yeah.
similarly how Jadon Sancho, great fucking player, didn't get
Mm-hmm.
a chance to get into City's team. I mean, obviously because they're so fucking stacked. Went to freaking Dortmund, and now he's in the England team now.
Yeah, but just to come back to the conversation about Pep, yeah, or
Yeah, yeah.
or Fep.
Sorry,
But
I
like the
get
point is,
distracted. I'm all over
no,
the
it's
place,
okay,
but
it's
yeah.
okay. But like about Pep, so I just feel that Tiki Taka, he's still going to be one of the greatest managers around because of the system and the philosophy that he brought about. That's Tiki Taka, which a lot of managers like. It just shows his foresight and his footballing IQ. I think he's one of the smartest managers in terms of
No man,
like
that guy knows how to play football.
yeah,
It's
exactly,
just
exactly.
I don't know.
He's
Is
one
it
of
the
the
players? Is
smartest
it the
and one of the
players?
most foresighted. He can look into like he's got this sort of innate ability to be able to look into how football is supposed to be played based on what the attributes of players and the different systems that managers are playing are. But that being said,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so that aside, like but on current form and on recent time, I think Tiki Taka is like a system of the past. So while it lasted, it was great. But if he starts playing Tiki Taka against Jurgen Klopp, what Jurgen Klopp did, the way he massacred Pep Guardiola in the Champions League, uh, the two legs in the quarterfinal the year they went to the final and lost to Madrid, because of Loris
Yeah.
Karius. And what he did to him in that 4-3, and what he's consistently doing to him in recent times, and what he did to him in the season they won the PL. I remember I was in Thailand watching that game, and I was very nervous. So I was I was in Koh Samui, and I met this bartender at the resort I was staying at, and he got me bloody drunk on like these variety of beers. And I started watching the game, and I was really high, and I was very nervous because I knew this could be our year, because I could see the way Klopp was adapting the system. Like, that's why I brought my Diogo Jota point as well, where he shifted
Yeah.
from, because Van Dijk had already been here for a while, he shifted to playing 1v1 at the back. That just, and it was because Van Dijk was so good that season, right? Like, we had the best
Mm.
defensive record in the league. Plus, he was scoring all the goals because you could let the wing backs go ahead and provide make they essentially become the wingers like Salah and Mane and Salah can just cut through into the middle, and Bobby is playing like this number 10 role as a false nine, right? And it was just
Yeah.
amazing. Like, I've never seen something like that in recent times. Like, I was just like, Jurgen Klopp's got the controller and nobody knows what to do, essentially. And yeah, like it
Yeah.
was just like that. And so he played 1v1 at the back, and to test the system, of all people, he played that 1v1 sort of philosophy to defend higher, 20 yards higher up the pitch. With He
Mm.
tested it against Arsenal with an Aubameyang, and we kept a clean sheet and we beat them 2-0 or 3-0. I think that was when Salah rolled this guy who David Luiz on his back, and some other defender as well. I mean, that's
Yeah.
Salah can roll a lot of people on his back, but it was, yeah, like, I could hear the commentator was like, "You're not gonna get that much time in the PL, son." Right? Like, you could tell the difference in class. And then when I watched that game, I was like, this could be our year, right?
Yeah.
Um,
So
so
are you banking on Liverpool winning the Premier League again?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, because as I said, man, like Klopp has one over. So if Pep plays the same system and he doesn't adapt, right? If he doesn't find a new way to make use of the players he's got on the pitch that is beyond tiki taka, teams like Liverpool or Bayern in transition, who've got the players who can hurt you, if they're given just that half a yard of space, right? Like the Manes or the
Hmm.
Salahs, the Lewandowskis, the Gnabrys, and the Sanes of the world. If you
Yeah,
have
yeah, yeah.
these players in your team in the wide positions, and you're defensively compact because there's a good cohesion in your team because the players have played with each other, then City are going to get massacred, man. That is the reason that Pep has not won a Champions League with Bayern or with City yet. He always
Yeah, but
shows.
okay, let's stick to the Premier League. Let's let's
Yeah,
uh
yeah, but
let's
I'm
let's
just
talk a
saying
little
that.
bit about the Premier League.
Yeah, but he's done great work in the Premier League, right? He's done great work in the Premier League. I feel that the top two in the Premier League, since you asked the question, it's still, at least this year, it's still between City and Liverpool. Because I'm not going to, just because of the players that they have in their team, I'm not going to rule out City going on another 15-game win streak. And then the whole equation
See,
changes because,
I'm just having a look at the league table right now.
right, sure, go ahead. Yeah.
Manchester City currently are sitting 10th.
They
They
play us
played
this
six
week.
games. They've
They
got
play
one
us
game in
this week.
hand.
They play us tomorrow, day after tomorrow,
Um,
at the Etihad.
okay, so they have 11 points right now. If they win, let's
Yeah,
say, for example, if City win,
yeah.
they're what, third or
They're
fourth? I mean, let me check the
No,
goal difference.
They'll be 2 points behind us, but with a game in hand. So
Yes, yes.
yes,
So I mean, if they beat y'all, then it's open season then.
it's
But what
open
about
season.
what do you think about Tottenham?
Bro, I am very impressed with what Spurs have done this season. When last season Mourinho came there, I was just like, I thought Mourinho is out of his depth. But I regard Mourinho higher than Pep Guardiola just for the fact that he's done
Mm,
so many great things with different clubs in different leagues with different sets of players, and not always having the
yeah,
money on his hands, right? Um,
yeah.
so
By the way, did you watch Spurs All or Nothing?
yes, I did. I watched both those seasons, man. I mean, I watched the Pep Guardiola
The
one, and I
City
watched the
one as
All.
well, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
loved
yeah.
it. I
But
liked it.
like,
Jurgen
I
Klopp
loved it, but
says,
I
they were gonna make one on
I feel like I
Liverpool.
would have
Jurgen
liked
Klopp's
it
like, he's
more.
not allowing it. So yeah, like they want to make one on
No, he's
Liverpool.
like he
Klopp's
wants
like,
to keep his secret a secret,
yeah, yeah. He's like,
yeah.
I wouldn't ever let. He's like, fuck secrets also. He's like, I wouldn't let anybody close to my dressing room. Which I kind of
Yeah,
get, but
that's
I would
what.
love to watch that. Like, I mean, I get it. I don't want Liverpool to lose because secrets have gone away, but I would love to watch how Klopp goes about it as well. Just
Yeah, but
as
I,
a
I
footballing interest.
genuinely really enjoyed Spurs All or Nothing, but I just feel like if they had something to play for, it would have been a lot more
So I don't think
entertaining.
Spurs are winning the
Uh,
league this season. I don't think Spurs are winning the league.
no, 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 no.
Okay, I
I
wouldn't be
give Everton
surprised if they win the
a better
Europa.
chance.
Yeah, because Mourinho loves the Europa League. All right, he's got this thing in knockout competitions, and I think he's got the players on the pitch. You know,
No,
the Bale
he's
signing, if
made
Bale
Harry Kane, he's
performs,
made Son into those talismanic
man,
players, and
if
plus
Bale
Bale,
performs, if Bale performs,
yeah,
or
yeah,
even if he
yeah.
chips in with like 15 goals or 12 goals, right? And
Hmm.
the Harry Kane, Heung-min Son, Gareth Bale,
Bro,
oh my God,
Son is on fire, bro. Son is like, I think he's
that's some
leading the
front
Premier League
three,
charts.
man. That's some front three, man. Yo,
No, and plus
the
they've
only
got
reason you're ahead of me in the FPL as of today is because I didn't have Son for 2 weeks. He's
well, I
that
was
good.
smart. Okay,
You understand?
I
He's
played
that
my
good.
wild card early.
Yeah. I played my wild card a little late, but he's that good. You understand? Like
No,
he's
bro.
really that
I make very good informed decisions. I'll tell you something about the
good.
FPL. Last week, yeah, last week.
Right.
It was Aston Villa, Southampton. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I had a feeling that okay, Chalo, this is gonna be like a little bit of a tricky game. Where I feel
Right,
like it's not gonna be like a 0-0. But then again, I had Mings already, and I already changed 2 players, so I couldn't, take out more players.
right.
And I had Vestergaard as well in my team, so I just one of my defenders was injured, so I put Vestergaard in the team as well.
Hmm.
So I had Mings, Vestergaard, Grealish, and Ings.
Hmm.
Okay, Aston Villa ended up losing 3-2 to
Hmm.
Southampton,
Hmm.
and Ings scored, Grealish scored, Mings scored, and Vestergaard scored. So can you imagine what a freaking masterclass that was by me?
Right. That was I saw you got like 69 points, which is great for the week that was
Yeah.
for most FPL managers.
Auspicious number.
Yeah. No, so just to come back onto the situation of Spurs in the Premier League, right? So
Yeah,
I
go on.
think they have a really good chance if they keep scoring, even if they do leak some goals and they have that one freak result because they're not into the project where Mourinho is not that deep into the project, or neither are the players where they know each other that well yet. But if they keep scoring just on the
Man,
sheer
they've got
amount of
some crazy fixtures. They've got some crazy upcoming fixtures.
yeah, they're. I think now this week they play West Brom, but after that it's very difficult because they had a very
After that,
honeymoon
it's
period.
City, it's Chelsea, it's Arsenal,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
Crystal
So
Palace, then Liverpool, then
yeah,
Leicester.
so I want to see how they go through these 7 fixtures. If they come out of it with like out of these 21 points, if they come out of it with like anything above 15 plus points, right? Then
So
I'd be
you'll know how much of a Mourinho team it is right after this.
yo, man, but like this is what yeah, I mean he's gonna park the bus and everything. But I'm just saying, man, like with Kane and Son out there, with Kane playing that false nine, and I think Kane's one of the best strikers in the Premier League in recent times, right up there with
No, I'll tell
Aguero.
you what he's done. What he's done this season that's really impressed me.
Yeah.
He's playing more of a center forward role than a traditional striker.
Yeah,
He's
he's more like a
assisting a
false nine.
lot of
Yeah.
goals.
He's become
Yeah,
KDB plus
he's
Harry Kane.
putting the ball in.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's totally just like assisting left and right. He's scoring goals as well.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, to have a creator in your forward line is
Exactly,
freaking
and Mourinho understood that because Tottenham don't have a creator in their midfield. They play fucking
I तो
Ndombele
इतना
and
सा भी
Sissoko.
couldn't understand it United or what?
No, I do understand United, but United don't have the forward line either, right?
No.
So,
I'm saying at United when
oh,
Jose was
Mourinho
there, he
couldn't
couldn't fucking
understand
be
it.
that smart or what. Fucking
Okay.
cute he was.
So, but I also think that United, the board really pissed Mourinho off. He lost interest after a point of time. I
He's
felt.
a sensitive guy, man. He's a
He is a
sensitive guy.
sensitive guy, and
You gotta keep him happy.
he's made it evident that he hangs his heart on his sleeve when he's a manager. He's one of the few people who doesn't have a filter at all. Like Klopp is very smart when it comes to media management. Guardiola doesn't really care so much, but Mourinho is like this guy who just speaks his mind, and it doesn't matter. Like I mean, he's that good. He thinks he's that good that even if he gives away his secrets, it's all about who can tactically beat someone on their given day. So yeah, like I mean, that's just how I think he just lost interest after a point. And he said in All or Nothing as well. He said that he believes that the Tottenham squad of players that they have are a better squad that he inherited at United. Just they've not been put in the right sort of context and the right.
He also said Dele Alli was one of the players he really wanted, and poor guy
Yeah,
hasn't played for
yeah.
so long.
No,
I
he said that
totally think that
Fergie
was
told
just a
him.
scam. Yeah, that's a scam because he knew the cameras were on, and he's like, no, I'll tell them that so United come and sign him
No, so
because
well,
like
yeah,
Fergie
true,
wanted
true,
him.
because he wanted to fuck them off. He said the
I
same thing
think
as well.
yeah.
You're absolutely right, because he said the same thing. He said on camera in All or Nothing that when he joined United, Sir Alex Ferguson came to him and said that the only player you need to sign is Dele Alli. I was like, what the fuck, man? No, that's not true.
Like he was
That's not true.
such a prolific freaking signing he's gonna be, and he doesn't even play him, dude. Like what the fuck?
So
You could see pretty early on that
there's
he
this really
was one
funny
of those
guy who does
players that he
these
just
PL
doesn't want to play.
impressions. This really funny guy. I think Sir Alex Ferguson is like also. I don't know if he fucks around with you guys behind the scenes or not, but there's this guy who does Premier League impressions on YouTube, and he's
I think
bloody
I can't
accurate.
remember his name, but
Yeah, yeah, and
I've
he's
seen him
so
on
accurate at
YouTube.
it. All right. So a few months back, like when the season restarted, he did this impression of SAF, yeah, and
Yeah.
he went like, so in an interview, SAF goes like, "Oh no, you have to just give him some time," right? So he's like, "Give who time? Ollie." He's like, "Ollie, no, Jesse Lingard." He's
Bro,
gonna be the best player ever.
speaking of Jesse Lingard, bro, like
Right,
see, I don't know. I mean, this meme is kind of old, but it's taking the rounds again. It's a video of Zlatan, okay,
right.
and Zlatan is just like he reads the stat. He's like 20 games, no goals, and he's just like 20 games, no goals. What the fuck? What the fuck is this shit? He's like, you want to learn how to score? You come to me. Zlatan will teach you. It's just the most hilarious and the most genuine Zlatan thing that I've ever
Zlatan
fucking
thing
seen in
ever.
my
Yeah,
life,
yeah,
dude.
yeah.
Yeah,
And he's
it's just Zlatan
39, dude.
being
He's
Zlatan.
39, and look what he's doing in
That
AC Milan.
man has no limits, dude. I'm
Yeah,
telling you, I will put my paycheck on this. He is the best United signing in the last 10 years. Because
really.
he's the only reason United won those trophies that they did in that one season.
Right.
Because for once United had a player whose confidence could not be shattered by the
Man, I'm
dressing
so
room
jealous
or
of
by the
United. You
manager.
guys just buy players for fun and still don't land up anywhere. And that was the time
Buy
when
the
you had
wrong players, man.
no, but
I would rather we buy good players once in 2 years rather than keeping buying random
yeah,
fucking players that
much
will
like
probably
Klopp,
just
yeah.
sell after a
No,
season.
but like that was the time when you had Schweinsteiger and who's that fraud who
Oh
just
my
went to
god,
Arsenal?
that was
Mkhitaryan, right? Like yeah, you had
Mkhitaryan
Mkhitaryan,
was good that one season, man. He won us the Europa League.
but he turned out to be a fraud, man. Like he got kicked
No,
out of Arsenal.
he was just man, Arsenal are a dud team, man. They signed Danny Welbeck as if they thought he'd be some great player. Like Arsenal also damn stupid, bro. No offense. Like
Yeah.
Arsenal are one of the teams that I despise. They're just a shit club.
Okay. So this is
And I'm
going
a
everywhere.
United
So let's
fan, so
come back
that's
to
saying
topic.
something.
Okay, let's come back to topic. Let's discuss some current news before we come into. We were talking about the contenders for the PL though. I just want to round off over there.
Yeah. How
Something
much time do we have left though?
not much. Like I think we'll wrap up in 15 minutes or 20 minutes or so
Yeah,
maximum.
cool.
But what I'm saying is that about Spurs just to get there, right? Like I mean, if they come out of these fixtures, I think top four, it's going to be Liverpool, City. I think Spurs have a better chance than Arsenal and United for the top four currently.
Oh, bro, United are closer to the relegation zone than they are to the
Yeah,
top four.
and so I think the fourth spot is going to be between Chelsea and Arsenal. And if Chelsea don't make it to the
Nah,
top four,
I wouldn't say Arsenal. They're just too inconsistent, man.
man, you'd be
They're
surprised. I
honest.
think
Don't put your money on it. Don't
yeah,
put
no,
your money on it.
I think you'd be surprised at what Arteta might do, but I think going forward, as we discuss this season, we'll come back to this topic basically and see where they are.
No, but they're the most. I'm telling you, they're just the most bogey, inconsistent fucking team that
Right,
there is.
right,
No, so
right.
this season in the FPL, I had a couple of United players. I had a couple of Arsenal players. Bro, after the second week, I played my wild card, and I have a strict philosophy: don't take any United players and don't take any Arsenal players. I've done fantastic after that.
Right, right,
Like
right.
I
I
haven't
still have
faltered one single week.
I bought Rashford for the wild card. He's my only United player because I think he's going to give me some points. But I'm probably going to switch him. I only got him because James is injured. I'll probably switch him for James and clear up some
Yeah,
funds as well.
actually, I have to take out James. Good, you reminded me.
Yeah. Because he's injured. I have him for a couple of weeks, like this week and the next week. Then I'll have two free transfers. I'm gonna shuffle around a little bit again. Anyhow, so to
Okay.
come back to the topic, yeah, so that's my opinion on where the top four lands, right? And if
So
Chelsea
wait, say that
don't
again. You said Liverpool
Liverpool,
first.
City, Spurs. Now, number four is going to be between Arsenal, United, and Chelsea. If there is an outsider like Leicester
What
who
about
come in,
Leicester?
yeah.
Yeah,
So I think
I
if
think
there's an
Leicester
outsider,
probably.
I don't know if they can maintain what they're doing currently. Honestly, I mean, if Harvey Barnes, Madison do not, have a great season, it's going to be very difficult for them. because they're heavily counting on those guys apart from Vardy to provide for Vardy as well. And they will have these freak losses like they had against West Ham, and they can go on a string of wins
Okay.
and a string of losses. So I don't believe in their consistency. I still believe if United get their shit together like they did last year for a string of games, they have the players to have to be able to challenge for a top four spot. But if Chelsea, I want to say this here, I love the Chelsea have collected some of the most talented young players in the world,
Yeah,
and
the most sought after, definitely.
yeah. I love Ziyech. I love I don't know. I love Werner as well. I don't know about Havertz, right? But Ziyech and Werner are great signings if they hit it off, like together.
Man, I'm a big fan of Kai Havertz. I genuinely like personally. I think he's gonna get to the level of Eden
See,
Hazard
I think
if
if
he
I'm not
stays at
wrong,
Chelsea for that long.
if I'm not wrong, he's younger than Werner and Ziyech both. I know he's younger than Ziyech. I don't know if he's younger than Werner.
I'll have a look. Wait,
Yeah, yeah.
you keep talking.
Yeah,
I'll Google
but I
this
think
stuff.
Pulisic. And Pulisic, I think, is a great player. So they've got the front line, they've got the back line, they've got Thiago Silva for this season. Zuma seems to be doing well. If like in the last 5 games, they've kept clean sheets, and I think for the first time in 10 years. So if Lampard is able to get his defense together, he's got most of the pieces together, not to mount a title
Wait.
challenge.
Just
Yeah,
one second, bro. Ziyech is 27 years old.
yeah. Ziyech is really old, and he's a great
I
player.
thought he was like 23,
Yeah,
24,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
That's
Ziyech is really
crazy.
old. Ziyech is really old. He's a great player.
Kai
And
is
yeah,
21
yeah.
and
Werner
Werner is
is
24.
24, right? So, yeah, Kai is like your youngest player. So, and I think that he's more of a prospect for the
Even
future.
Pulisic is just 22, man. So
Yeah,
it's,
Pulisic is very
I
young.
mean, around the
And so
same.
I think that, these 5, 6 players, along with Mason Mount, who I don't know what he is about yet. But I mean, I know what he's about. I just don't know what Lampard's doing with him. So yeah, like I mean, with these players and like with the squad depth that they have with people on the bench, right? If they can keep their defense together, I wouldn't say they'll mount a title challenge just yet because
um, nice choice of words. Mount a title challenge. You gotta
absolutely.
address this. We gotta
With
address this. Sorry, you finish what you're saying, and we're gonna address that issue just after
Yeah,
this.
so yeah, I don't think they can mount a title challenge, but yes, I think that is great. I think they're a great project in the making. So Chelsea, if they don't qualify for top four, though, right? I don't think Ibrahimovic is the kind of guy who's going to stick around with Lampard for very long. Ibrahimovic is like this guy who says that I'm not going to give you 5 years to win a league. Go win a UCL, take all the money that you want, build me a team for the next 2 years, and win me trophies. And then he hires and fires people. Now, I do not know whether Lampard has been brought into Chelsea to have to change this philosophy, the way the owners go about it of hire and fire and keep winning trophies, right? But I wouldn't be
Hmm.
surprised, if
See,
Lampard doesn't.
when you
Hmm. Go ahead.
just to look at it right now.
Hmm.
Um, now see, obviously Kepa. I think Mendy was Mendy just played one game in the Premier League since signing.
No, no, he's
Correct
played
me
a
if I'm
couple
wrong.
of games. I saw a stat yesterday where Chelsea have kept
He
five
played the
clean
Europa League as well. No, sorry, Champions League as
Champions
well.
League. Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
So they've kept
yeah.
five
No,
clean sheets consecutively for the first time in 10 years, apparently. And Peter Cech was
really.
so worried that he came out of retirement. You know that, right?
No, man, he was playing hockey. He wasn't. He's. Trust me, he'll be better than ever. But
Yeah.
just having a look at the stats.
Hmm.
So Chelsea out of 7 have won 3, but
Yes.
I don't, and they've drawn 3 and they've lost 1, just 1, which is
In
the
the
same
Premier
as
League, that
Liverpool.
is. In the Premier League. No, no.
Yeah,
So
in
the
the
clean
Premier.
sheets was a
I'm just talking
combination of.
strictly.
So the stat I was talking about was just 5 games in a row in the CL and the PL. Because they kept two
Okay,
clean
okay.
sheets in the CL against
And how
Krasnodar and
many
the
did
other teams.
Kepa play out of those?
He didn't play at all. This was all Edouard Mendy. So Chelsea fans
Yeah,
are
so
loving
so
Edouard
that's what
Mendy.
I'm getting to,
Right,
because look, they've scored 16 goals, okay,
right, right.
in the 7 games, okay.
Hmm.
Liverpool have scored 17, just one more,
Right,
okay.
right, right.
Now the thing is, Chelsea have conceded fewer goals than, okay. So I'm not going to count Liverpool because that one
That
fucking
freak
accident y'all
result, yeah,
conceded those.
7-2. Yeah,
Yeah, that Aston Villa game was just weird, man.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but then again, man, I don't think their Chelsea's, their statistics really are consistent with where they are on the table.
Right.
Especially now that they've got Mendy, they've got a solid keeper. Their defense anyway, Thiago Silva has really gotten in there now. I think he's gonna play, like, he's gonna be a good
Yeah.
performer for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And
I think, like,
he's
they've
doing well with
scored. So
Zuma
like,
on his side. Like Zuma is doing well with him on his side, like as well.
yeah, and so they've conceded 9 goals despite Kepa playing majority of those games. So I
Right.
think now that they have Mendy, now the defense will be a little more solid, and the goals,
Yeah.
they'll chip fewer goals. So I think Chelsea can finish top four, and
Right.
I mean it's very early on, man. So I really think that they can mount. They're not going to mount a title challenge or anything. Again,
Mhm.
mount.
Mhm.
But I think they'll be in the mix, maybe second or third.
Yeah.
I really see City slipping this season.
Right. Right.
Unless they go absolute. There's only two ways this is going. I mean, there's one of two ways this is going.
Right.
Either City are gonna just go ape shit and they're just gonna
Yep.
fucking go
Yep.
on like a 12, 13 game win
Yeah.
streak and just like
Yeah.
annihilate everyone, or
Right.
they're just going to be in like top four.
Yeah,
They'll be
and
like
I
fourth or
think it's a
something.
very critical game tomorrow. Like do not just because it's early in the season, do not underestimate the weight of the game day after tomorrow. Because if Liverpool
Mm-hmm.
win, they take an 8-point lead at the top of the table uh, from City. And this is what
Yeah.
happened last year as well. They just kept increasing the difference between the points between City and themselves. And then, it
Mm-hmm.
just became too difficult a challenge for even the players and the manager that City have to mount. And if City stay on Liverpool's toes, then they'll have the confidence to go on those win runs that they usually go on. And
Yeah,
even
yeah, yeah.
even if there is that 8-point gap, they will still go on those win runs. But Liverpool will have the cushion because Liverpool will match them game by game. Because
But what
Klopp
about
has
what about
this.
Virgil not being there? How do you think that's
Yeah,
going to
so
impact?
that was one of our last. So we were coming to current affairs, right? So we had to talk about
Yeah,
VVD and we are to talk about predictions, which we anyway did now. So that's great. So let's come to
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. Wait, no,
So
actually, I
about
didn't. I didn't give my predictions. Wait. Let
yeah,
me let
go
me let
ahead,
me get
go
that out of
ahead,
the way.
go ahead, go ahead.
Um, I don't know. Just to differentiate, I'll say City win the league. Okay.
Right, right,
Liverpool second, of course.
right, right.
I would say Chelsea. Oh no, I'll go Spurs third.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I don't know, man. It's hard. It's very hard. Okay, I'll say Chelsea fourth.
Right.
Okay. Europa League wise, I would say Everton.
Mm-hmm.
And just to go out on a limb here, man, um I think Wolves will make it. I think that's it. I think Arsenal, United, and even Leeds for that matter are going to finish below.
Wolves are a great project this year as well. I think they'll make it too.
Yeah, no. I think they've been consistent for quite. Are they already in the Europa League? Wolves?
Yeah, they are. Yes, they are.
They are, right? Yeah. So
Yeah,
I think they're going to get in again.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, man, it's quite an upset. I feel for Aston Villa. I feel like their form is like dropping off now.
I think same goes
Like
for Everton. But yeah, Everton will because the quality of players that they
no,
have,
no,
they
no, no,
will
no.
make it to Europa. They won't
Everton, I
make it to the
definitely
Champions
feel
League
like they have
spots.
more to offer.
Though I
No, no,
never
no.
rule Ancelotti out, just like I never rule Mourinho out. All right, because he must have.
I feel like Everton are going to give a good challenge, but then again, I don't think they don't have that much in their team. Their depth is not
Yeah,
that much. Like
yeah.
they
It's
signed what they. So
like
it's
you saw,
last season
James
really
got injured and
suggested
they've
it.
lost the last two games.
That's what I was saying. That's what I was
Yes.
saying. No
Yeah.
harm as no party, dude.
Yeah. No, no,
And
that happens.
bro, this Calvert Lewin, too, he's making you another Inzaghi or what? Like crazy, bro. What has he done to this man?
So yeah, and that's what I was surprised. I thought that DCL is scoring goals because James is providing, and James is like the nucleus of this team. Because of which both Richarlison and DCL like are performing better than the players that they are. But
But
it was surprising
Richarlison has
that
also become better this season. He's
yeah,
been providing.
but I think DCL actually has leveled his game up, and Ancelotti has also played a part in that because he's been scoring despite James not being on the pitch in the last two games, and despite the team not performing so well. So I just think that
No,
his
he's been
finishing,
scoring, but then again, they're not winning. That's the problem. It's like no
yeah,
harm has no
yeah,
party, dude. So now
and
I
I
think
just
teams are
think
gonna
that
figure this
DCL
out that
most of the
just
goals he
tame James.
scores. Yeah, I'm so sorry to cut you off, but I think DCL most of the goals he scores are headers, and because he's such a physical presence in the box. But I do
That's a
think
good thing.
it's a good thing. It's a great thing. I just think his finishing with his feet has also gotten very clinical. Like he's super clinical with his head. but he's also become very clinical with his feet. I don't know if
Bro,
he's
think about it. Think about the next game, yeah.
yeah.
Dominic Calvert-Lewin
Oh, they're playing
scores a
United.
lot of
Oh
yeah,
yes.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
we've got
And imagine
we've got
that
double
defense.
headers this weekend. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Great
I'm
weekend.
keeping him, bro.
Yo, are we drinking?
I might
We
be
should watch the
captain.
games together this weekend, man. We should get some
Yeah,
beers.
let's do it, bro. Let's do.
Yeah, all
Let's
right, go
have a
ahead.
drinking game, bro. Every time Harry Maguire, I don't know, does I don't know, gets beaten. I don't know. I think we're gonna be really drunk by the end
Right,
of
right.
it.
Go ahead. We'll make up
Uh,
a drinking game.
okay. Chalo. Every time Dominic Calvert-Lewin scores,
Right.
okay. Every time Rashford makes a run and nothing comes for it. Every time, so you gotta take a shot, yeah, every single time when these things
Right.
happen. Every time De Gea makes like a massive save and then just like looks at the defense as if, "Okay, like, kya ho raha hai,
What the fuck are
you
you
know?
doing? Yeah.
Yeah, like who the fuck are you guys?"
Right.
And every time Bruno Fernandes yells at someone,
I'm interested to see
and
in the press
every
conferences today if James is back or not. If James is back, it's a difficult game for you guys.
yeah, and each time Cavani makes a touch because there's so few.
Yeah, I think we're going to be very drunk. But anyhow.
Oh no, Harry Maguire's mistakes as a whole will be drunk just
Yeah,
like
as a
that. Don't
whole,
worry.
yeah, absolutely. And also Paul Pogba doing something he's not supposed to do.
We'll refine these and we'll make
We'll
some more.
refine those things. Yeah, we'll refine
We'll
those.
put them in the description or something.
Yeah, so just to
But
come
yeah,
back to the topic of BVD not being there, now that you've given your predictions, man,
yeah,
I was watching. I remember I was watching the game with our friend MD. He's also a Liverpool fan much before us because he's
yeah.
way older than us, right? So he started watching Liverpool for a
He's
while.
seen more things.
Yeah, he's seen more things. So he's an Argentina and a Liverpool fan, not a Messi fan, but an Argentina fan.
How
So
does that? I thought those two are like correlated.
yeah, they are correlated, but I think he's been watching Argentina since before Messi and post Maradona, right? So in that transition phase, um,
Yeah,
he's been supporting Argentina because he likes them over Brazil, like basically as a international footballing team. So we were watching the game together, and I think you called me immediately after that game, if I'm not wrong. Like I was at his place, and you did call me because
yeah.
I was so heartbroken, man, because that was the game when Thiago finally arrived, and us Liverpool fans are so excited to watch what Thiago brings to the current system because we've had a functional midfield with Wijnaldum,
Yeah,
Henderson,
yeah, yeah.
and they do all the dirty work and stuff. But we've not had a technical player who can provide for Mane and Salah. So I just think that brings a dimension to this team that we've not seen yet, and it's really exciting because I can only imagine what would happen if there is another dimension to this team. But
Man,
Thiago,
I'd take Thiago over Pogba in a heartbeat. To be very honest,
man, that guy.
I just want Pogba gone, man.
Man, Thiago
I
is
just need
probably the
something to
best
change.
technical player that Barcelona Academy has created, like as a CM for his position.
And they didn't keep
Like
him.
I mean,
They didn't keep him after all that.
he's like a mini Iniesta, like basically like Iniesta's younger brother or his son or something like that.
Bro, even correct me if I'm wrong, even Rodrigo was from La Masia, the one in City.
Yeah. You're
I
right.
think so, right? Dude,
Yeah,
these
you're
guys could have made their own Xavi, Iniesta, and Busquets again if they wanted to.
right. Exactly.
They just chose not to.
So I was really heartbroken when that VAR was not given because and I don't know what's up with VAR this season. I know Liverpool fans had a very good time with VAR. We honestly we didn't want it. Now this season,
अरे blatantly पैसा खाया dude VAR ने तो.
no, but this season
Like
everything is going
genuinely.
against Liverpool in VAR, but we're still managing to cope. So I'm happy about that.
Hey, bro, you remember for Crystal Palace, okay, De Gea saves a penalty. VAR rules off the save.
Yeah.
And then another person comes and takes the penalty.
Yeah,
so
another
are
person
you
takes
that
the
took the
penalty.
penalty first?
Yeah.
So apparently De Gea was like not even like what 1 centimeter off his line, and apparently that makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, but the point here is that is still the law. Over here he wasn't offside. Mane wasn't offside.
Man, come on. It ruins the flow of the game. It should be open to interpretation. They should honestly let you use VAR in the sense of reviews.
No, that
Okay?
way I'm
If
with
the
you, man.
referee
That
is
way I'm
if
with
the
you
re-
because they
yeah,
say it's a clear and obvious
give
error, and
each
you should not make it unless it's clear and obvious. It's not clear and obvious that Mane was offside. I mean,
bro, VAR is like is become like a fucking like a Terminator, dude. Like it's
Yeah,
fucking
yeah,
doing its
yeah.
own thing now. If referee's like, okay, VAR is like, nahi, main check karega. I
You
will
know,
do it. And when it's
VP
not
says
offside,
that
it's still offside.
so VP says that you should have VAR is fine. Okay, it makes the game more difficult and it allows for assistance, but they need AI in VAR and not paint. And I was like, that's so true. They literally draw lines of paint,
Yeah.
man. Like
Bro,
how we made
literally, there
this
was someone's
wallpaper.
hand was ahead of the line once.
Yeah, yeah.
Like his
Mane
hand was
wasn't
ahead
even
of the
that. But
line.
anyhow, to come back to what I was saying, that was an amazing ball by Thiago, and you knew, both MD and I knew that Liverpool, like even when they were trailing 2-1, I don't know if they were no, they were drawing 1-1, and then Salah scored that volley right into the bottom corner.
Yeah.
And that's what we were looking at each other. We were like, these guys are going to beat us. What the hell, like. But anyhow, and I was just like, even when we were drawing as Liverpool fans, we don't expect to draw against Everton or any team in current form. Like we expect to win every game we go out. So
How the times change.
yeah, how the times have changed. But I'm just saying, like, because it's weird when a Jurgen Klopp team with the mentality that they have, and the learning curve that they've been through, they can't find a way to dig out games, right? And 92nd minute, Thiago puts this ball in, and Mane is very smart, plays it through his legs and makes a turn. And I don't know who he put. Oh, yeah, Henderson scored, right? He puts the ball in, and Henderson
Yeah.
scores, even though he scuffs it, right? That was like a
Yeah.
really sad day and game for us, like, I mean, because Thiago got injured, VVD got injured, Pickford didn't get sent off. We could have easily had a penalty for that VVD injury and we would have won that game. And, we would have been way clear of City. Tomorrow's day after's game wouldn't have mattered much as it does
Mhm.
right now. Right. So I was really sad. But VVD, to just highlight upon VVD not being there, VVD is probably the most I feel that DVD is the most important player in this squad.
So can you just tell our viewers again what VVB stands for? I'm pretty
Oh,
sure a lot
Virgil
of people
van
are like,
Dijk.
what is
Yeah,
he on
Virgil van
about?
Dijk. Yeah, Virgil
Yeah,
van Dijk. The Dijk. So the Dijk is like his legend, man.
the
So
Dike. Yeah, the Dike is a better
the
name for him.
Dijk, yeah, and like I don't know if he's the greatest ever yet, like in terms of being a defender.
Nah,
Um,
he's not the greatest ever. I just
Not
feel
he's
like
not
I
the
just feel
greatest
like
ever. I'm
the
not. I'm
way
not saying that.
football
Okay,
has got.
let me rephrase. I don't think
Yeah.
yet he's even one of the greatest ever. We still have Ramos and who was our boy, man, at Milan, like the greatest
Thiago
ever.
Silva,
No, like the AC Milan player who is actually the greatest defender.
Maldini, Maldini.
Oh, Maldini, exactly. So I don't know if
Yeah.
he's Maldini level or even Thiago Silva level or Ramos level yet. All right, because I'm not
Oh,
going to get excited.
Chiellini, bro. Chiellini back in the day. Then you had Bonucci also.
Yeah. So Bonucci, I don't think he's there yet. Though some of the stats, like
The thing is, those are very old school defenders. There's right now, no. The problem is that players have gotten so soft. Okay, that roughness of the game has really
yeah,
gotten
and
away, and
I
I feel
think
like VAR
VVD the
is
way
somewhere
he
to blame for that.
yeah, and I think VVD the way he plays his game is very smart. Like there was a stat where for 60 games nobody dribbled past him, and critics
Hmm.
say that people don't dribble past him because he doesn't make a one-on-one tackle or like a challenge. But it's because he's so good as a defender in terms of having to be able to see the game and understand forwards. And you know why that is? The dude started his career as a forward. You know this. So he started his career in the Netherlands as a forward. For the first club, he definitely played as a forward. For the second club, I don't know if he played as a forward for the first half of it or not. That is why his finishing is also so good with his foot. But the reason he's able to defend so well with such foresight, where he can tell what the forward or the winger is going to do, is because he's played as a forward in the start of his career. So the way
Yeah,
he
yeah, yeah.
defends is very
No.
smart.
I wouldn't doubt his
No, I'm just
defensive
saying that
ability,
the reason that people are not able
game
to tackle
reading in.
past him, like an answer to those critics, is that VVD rarely ever makes a challenge. He doesn't need to. He lets players come onto him. He like he let a
No, but now
winger.
recently, before he got injured, he was getting beaten a lot, huh? He was
Yeah,
getting
he
beaten a
was
lot.
getting beaten a lot. I think that's a lot to blame
No.
with.
It's just the hot hand syndrome, bro. You like when things keep happening, people
Yeah,
just think it'll happen forever. It's never going to
forever.
change.
Yeah,
And
and
then once it does, you break a streak.
Yeah.
and then shit just starts going south from there. It's
Yeah, it
not that he's
doesn't
not a
take
great
away
player,
from
even
how great
after
a
that. It's just,
defender he is. It absolutely
yeah,
doesn't take
it's
away
more
from how
about
great
the
a defender
form.
he
So
is.
his form dipped
Yeah.
a bit, and then the poor guy got injured after that. So
And plus,
I don't
there
think he's
was
coming
this
back
thing
this
as
year.
well, in the season when he was doing all this, no forward thought he can go past BVD. There was this mental sort of block that he put in the minds of like even great players. But that was just because that was the season where the whole Liverpool team was defending so well. We had not conceded a goal in like so many games, and when we would concede a goal, it would be a free goal and things like that. So, and I think it
Yeah,
was it
yeah,
was down to the system Klopp was playing as well, because Klopp played that 1v1 system that I spoke about, that played to the assets of BVD's game. It's where BVD did not have to do
yeah.
things that he's not good at, basically. And that just unleashed
Yeah.
the beast that is Virgil van Dijk and to the Premier League, and he arrived onto the scene. And he became the PFA player of the
Hmm.
season, which defenders normally don't do. So
Yeah,
yeah,
man.
it's testament to the fact as to how good he is. But VVD not being there, man, I was very worried. Like when it happened, I was very worried. As soon as he got injured, I knew that it's a serious injury. I was telling MD that day when you called as well that it doesn't look good, because VVD, even Klopp said it. VVD does not really ever get injured. That's one really good thing about him. Like Klopp says, he plays in all kinds of
Yeah.
pain. He plays through any sort of injury. But if he
No,
can't
but
play
I'm
through
just I'm
something,
just
it doesn't
hoping he
look good.
comes back. Like for football's sake,
Yeah,
I'm
no,
hoping he
he's
comes
he's
back
got an
in one piece,
ACL, and
because
ACL is
it's a
always tricky.
ACLs are the worst, bro.
Yeah, yeah, it's always
Worst
tricky, and
fucking
you have to
injuries.
be
Because that's what
very.
happened to Falcao. That's what
Yeah,
happened
yeah,
to so many great players. They've just lost their sheen after an ACL, dude.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
they
So
don't
though I
come
think
back the same.
VVD will be back, and he'll be back
I
probably.
hope so. I hope so.
No, he'll be back. It'll take some time. I wouldn't. I think if Liverpool make it to the CL semis or final, not even semis. I think if they make it to the finals, maybe he'll come back because he'd want to be back at the
Mhm.
Euros as well, right? So I don't
Yeah,
know
yeah.
if it depends on the rehab, and of course nobody's going to force it through with an ACL. But him not being there, I was very worried, because we don't really have a great defense. Gomez is good, but he complements VVD's game. He's more of a leader at the back, because, as I said, he can read the game. So you don't tend to make mistakes, because he sees that a player is about to make a mistake, and he just does what he's supposed to do one pass before that. So we
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
have
yeah.
that kind of a player in Liverpool. And Robbo and Trent,
No, no,
they're
I get.
soft.
That's the only worry when it comes to Liverpool,
Yeah.
specifically for me. That now that you guys, and plus he's your captain as well, right, Virgil?
He's our third captain. Like, so when Henderson's not
Is
playing,
he?
it's
I thought he
Milner.
was your captain.
No. So when Henderson's not playing, Henderson's our captain, bro. And
Oh, okay. Sorry, my bad. I mean,
people
I'm not a
undervalue
Liverpool fan.
Henderson as well. Every time Henderson plays, the defense is sorted, even though BVD is not there. Like this post BVD injury
Yeah.
back. When he's not
But
played, is
speaking of captain, I
Mhm.
so wish that they wouldn't have given Harry Maguire the armband
I think
as
it went
soon
through
as
his
they
head.
did.
I
It's
think it
such
went
an
through his head. Yeah,
embarrassment, bro. It's an
yeah.
embarrassment. Like honestly, it just leaves a bad taste in your mouth. And no offense to Harry Maguire, man. Like when he signed for United, I was excited. But then again, bro, like if I join a new company and I work as like a like a normal level person, and tomorrow you make me CEO,
Right.
are people going to respect me? No,
Why
for
would they?
fuck's
Right?
sake.
Exactly. Why would
They be
they?
like, they be
De
like,
Gea should be
you've been here
captain, man.
all of 5 minutes, man. No, not even De Gea, bro. Like it's just okay. I get it. Probably United don't have strong members in their camp.
In
They
the
don't have
squad,
those
yeah, or
leaders, and they think
experience.
Harry Maguire is the second coming of the Messiah or whatnot. Clearly, he isn't. I think it's in a very bad light that now you can't even take him out as captain, because
Right.
I feel like United have backed themselves up into a corner, because firstly you paid 80 million for him, so shame
Mhm.
on you. And the fact that you made him captain, I'm pretty sure there would be some clause in his contract. First of all, that he signed for 80 million, so he is going to be a crucial first team player.
Mhm.
And now that you made him captain, so that changes things. You can't just bench your captain for like 3-4
Right.
games, and you're not going to. You're probably contractually obligated to keep playing him. But I don't know, man. There's we'll make another video of how to fix United or
Yeah, we'll
whatever.
do that. We'll do that. No, but to come
We'll
back
do
to the
some
Liverpool and
speculation.
Gomez point, right? The VVD and
Yeah, yeah,
everything
yeah.
point. I think Joe Gomez has stepped up. He was great the last couple of seasons for us anyway, but I think he stepped up more as a leader in the absence of VVD, which he really needs to right now.
Okay, speaking of great players, who do you think has been the shining light in the Premier League so far?
In the last 5, 10 years, you mean? 10 years?
No. Just this season. Just as far as we've seen, that one
Oh,
player who's overperformed so drastically.
okay. I think Heung-min Son, my friend. Like, I mean, we've been waiting to see his true colors, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they
But
seem to
Son
have come
somewhere
out.
I feel like I was expecting him to do good things. He's it's not
No,
like
he was
he's
always a
ever
great
shied away
player.
from
He was
scoring.
always a great player. You
Yeah,
could
yeah, yeah.
tell that he's a great player. Last season, I think it was an all or nothing as well. You remember that solo goal he scored where he went past the entire
Oh
Aston
yeah,
Villa
yeah. The
keeper?
nuts he went. He went
Yeah, yeah.
nuts.
So you could tell that this guy has talent, man. It was just about whether he could match it
Bro,
with consistency and
I I feel like Dominic Calvert-Lewin has
yeah. So
been
it's
the most
between the two of them.
outstanding.
It's between the two of them. But
Yeah,
I think
yeah, yeah,
Son
yeah.
has scored more goals as well, or as many goals, and given more assists. And I feel he's going to score more goals this season than DCL. I'm not going to talk about my
No,
contenders for
I'm
it.
not. I'm
Yeah,
not expecting DCL to stay there, to stay on the
right,
top of the
right.
scoring charts. But then again, at the same time,
So I think,
I don't think he's going to stop. I don't think he's going to stop. I
yeah,
think he'll get in the mid,
I
like
think it's going to be
20 at least,
about
minimum 20.
Salah, Vardy, Kane, Son. These are the four people who are going to be contending for the Golden Boot this
And I'm
season.
surprised Jamie Vardy is sticking, like he's still sticking in the goals. Yeah, like
Man,
I
Jamie
did
Vardy, I
not
think,
think
is a
that he
PL
would.
legend, my friend. He's up there with the PL legend because
He's
he's
one of
got
those late bloomers, bro. Late
yeah,
bloomers.
yeah, he's won the PL, all right. It's not like he's trophyless or anything like that. Yeah, I think he's scored like a good 150 goals in the PL now, which is like crazy numbers, right? Like Kane still has more.
I saw like a really stupid meme back in the day. I'd like to address that.
Right, sure.
It was a meme that said Vardy at 33 scoring goals and Rooney at 33. They showed him playing for Derby County.
Right.
Um, so I just want to address that. Wayne Rooney, from the age of 17, was bagging in the goals for Manchester United, and at the age of 16 for Everton. And that's when he, like, after that first season, he signed for United,
So
and he
Rooney
turned
was a number
18, and
10,
that
right? Rooney was a number 10,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
but he still scores a lot. No,
No, so
he used
I
to play
think
striker
Rooney
also
is a better
sometimes.
player than Vardy, man. Like, I mean,
No, I just
yeah,
want to address that because
yeah,
I feel like a lot of I don't know how to address the new fans, the new age fans who don't
yeah,
know,
yeah,
who
yeah.
probably just know Rooney by name and who've only seen him in his decline,
Right.
because by the time he was
The
30,
Gen
he
Z,
was
the
like,
ones after us. Yeah,
yeah. The
yeah.
Gen Z have, like, they're saying that,
The
oh,
post
at the age of
millennials.
30 he can't do it. I'm like, bro, that guy, trust me, man, like he deserves all the respect.
Right.
'Cause, like, yeah, when you were in college, he was fucking backing in the goals, bro, for Manchester United.
No,
So
man, I
it's
remember
nuts,
Rooney
man.
playing for England, I think in the 2008 World Cup, if I'm not wrong. No, sorry, 2010 World Cup. 2008 was Europe. In the
2010, yeah, 2010.
2010 World Cup.
2010 was Euros.
Yeah, yeah, 2010 World Cup. And in the 2006 World Cup, actually, I remember, yes, that's when I started watching football. As I told you, in 2005. 2006, I watched Rooney play for England, and I was like, that man, this guy's from Merseyside, and he's signed for United. Where would have we been had we had him?
Yeah,
So
man.
yeah, Rooney
Yeah,
is a
man.
great player, one of the best PL has seen, man. Like the heart and the faith
Yeah,
with
yeah,
which
yeah.
he played was something else. Like he had that
Yeah.
desire, apart from having the talent and the consistency as well,
But
to like
but
outclass everybody.
who's your favorite player? Like, it doesn't, like, apart from Messi, Ronaldo, and the obvious ones. Um, like, not just your team, any league,
Oh
I mean,
man,
any
that's a
time
tough
also.
one.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a tough one. Okay, that's I'll have to think about that. That's a tough one.
Just chalo, current players may say. Who's your favorite?
Um, Again, it's very difficult. Like the players who are currently playing in the world, right? I think
I mean,
my
it could
top.
be maybe they recently retired
Why
or
don't you
something
go
also is
ahead
fine.
first? I'll think about it.
Oh,
Like,
mine, hands down, for the last 10 years has been Zlatan.
right, really,
Hands
very
down. And
interesting
bro,
choice.
funny story, yeah. I went to the San Siro in 2011 when
Uh-huh,
Zlatan used to play for
uh-huh,
Manchester United.
uh-huh.
Okay. And one second, yeah. Just give me 1 second.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
so I went to the San Siro when Zlatan used to play for them in 2011, and I went for the stadium tour. And what happened was they took us to see the locker room and all that stuff. Now, I really had to pee. So they told us not to use the bathrooms in the locker room for obvious reasons.
Of
Okay.
course.
So there was a tour guide and stuff with me,
Right.
and like the rest of my family is with me.
Right.
So I was just like, "Hey, I'll go 2 minutes. I'll come. And I really just had to pee. Dude, I went into Zlatan's bathroom and I peed there.
Are you serious?
I'm serious, bro. Peeing with the stars. Like,
Lovely, man. Yeah, bro, that's what we live for, right? These guys ain't got nothing on us, man. Okay, anyhow. So just to answer your question, right? I think currently the best player in the world should be KDB. Apart from the Ronaldo and Messi, and I think even in current, like the last season,
no,
he
but
was
who's
there.
your favorite? I don't want to know the best. I don't want to.
Okay.
We'll
Oh,
have
my
that Ballon
personal
d'Or
favorite,
debate
man.
later.
I mean, I'll be biased when I say this, but I think Mo Salah is a great player, man. Like
I mean,
honestly,
yeah,
like
you don't need to be biased. Like you
yeah, I mean, I
tell
think
me
no,
the
even
truth.
if I'm
That's all.
not being biased, right? Like, I mean, the things that Mo Salah has done in the last few years, and the journey that he's made as a player, like right from his childhood in Egypt to going to Basel and then being rejected at Chelsea, and he spoke about how
Most people, bro, we can make like a starting 11 of just Chelsea
yeah, we'll
rejects.
do those things. We'll
Gone
do
on
those
to do
things.
great things.
Who got on to do great things? Yes, absolutely. But
Yeah.
Salah has spoken about how he found it really hard in the PL because he didn't speak the language at the time, which is a similar problem with Naby Keita. The reason that he's taken
Bro,
so much
Martial
longer.
still doesn't speak English, bro.
Yeah. So like Salah, and then he worked his way back, and how he really worked on his game individually, and how hard he worked to have to be able to make his left foot what it is today, and to be able to find those corners that he finds, and then he had a dream to play in the PL. He says as a kid, he wasn't very rich, but he used to have access to playing PlayStation. He used to play with Liverpool and stuff. I don't know if he says that to just make the fans happy today, but he wanted to play in the PL for sure.
That's just cattle fodder, bro.
Yeah. But he
You
wanted to
know
play
that's
in the
balls.
PL for sure. He wanted to play in the PL all his life. So he came
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Chelsea and then he got rejected. He went back to Roma and proved himself, right? And Jurgen Klopp saw him and he saw those things that he needed in a player for the system he wanted to play at Liverpool and bought him. And people were like, why are you paying 35 million for Salah and why are you paying 35 million for Mane and things like that? Mane had already proven himself in the Premier League. Salah hadn't.
Yeah.
Right. And Salah just burst onto the
And
scene.
how much is Salah worth today?
Bro, I think today, if you look at our front three, all of them are worth 100 million minimum, and it can go on to anything. Peak Coutinho
Nah, I
sold
don't
for.
think Bobby's worth 100. Bobby's worth
I
more
mean,
like
okay, not worth
60,
100
70.
million. Yes, okay, no, but he'd easily go for anywhere upwards of 65 million. And any team in
Yeah.
the world would want him.
65, 70 is what. How
And
old is Bobby?
Bobby is very old. That's the problem. Like he's 29. He's older than Salah and Mane. Like he's very old.
Are
So
you serious? Are you
he's been at
serious?
Liverpool for 7 seasons
I
now.
thought Mane and Salah are like older than him, man.
No, Mane and Salah are both 28. They're like a few months apart, basically. So
Oh my
yeah,
God. I
they're
thought
entering.
Firmino was younger.
You can check right now if you want. I checked a few
Yeah.
days back.
No,
So
no problem. No problem. You keep going on. Yeah, he's
yeah,
older. He's
so I
older.
think Mane and Salah. So peak Coutinho sold for 165 million, and he's basically shitting right now. And Barcelona are still paying us money for the guy. So yeah, they're still not paid us all the money.
No. He wasn't playing for them, and y'all they had to pay you
Yeah,
because
they're paying
he
us.
won the Champions League with
He won the
Bayern.
Champions League, yeah. And if he wins the Champions League with
Okay,
Barcelona, he has to
that
pay us even
has to
more.
go down as one of the worst deals and the worst decisions made by a club.
They should
To
take Jurgen
loan out a
Klopp to court
fucking
for fraud,
player.
man. Yeah, and I love Klopp. That's
Yeah.
why, man. Klopp was just like, so Klopp came in and he constantly said that when players are under me, I have faced this at Dortmund. I know Liverpool is a selling club. This is not happening over here. He was very pissed with Felipe Coutinho. He really tried hard. He said openly in public that I tried hard to keep the guy. And immediately after Coutinho left, Salah and Mane, when they were questioned about leaving the club after Salah had that 32-goal season and he broke the record, Alan Shearer record for the most goals in a Premier League season. He said that before winning any trophies, this is a new era at Liverpool. And he made an example out of Coutinho, right? That is why Liverpool fans
Yeah.
like me are not worried about players like Salah and Mane leaving unless it's a business decision, as you
See,
said, or something else is
United
coming.
have another like the exact opposite issue. We have divas. We have problems like Alexis Sanchez,
Yeah,
like Pogba, essentially, where
yeah.
these divas essentially are like ruling the
Yeah, and
dressing room. They are
it
like,
takes
I'm
that
the
kind of
star.
a manager to change a selling club into a destination club. With United, it's the vice versa. have been a destination club during and post the Sir Alex Ferguson era, but are now turning out to become a selling club, basically, and not
Right, but
even a
we're
selling club.
becoming a selling club because our players are
No,
not,
but also it's
sticking to
not
their
like you
value.
bought,
Like
it's
if we
not like
buy
you're
someone
selling
for 50
talents that
million,
you had created, like Stevie G was the only player who didn't get sold. Like, Xabi Alonso went to Real Madrid, Fernando Torres went to Chelsea.
I
So
but when players go like that, you don't even feel bad, bro. You're like, chalo, you
yeah,
did good for me.
yeah, like
You
Luis
have dreams, you
Suarez
have
left, right?
aspirations.
Like Luis Suarez left. So
Bro, this
personally, I
Pogba and
feel
all,
that
they don't have any fucking aspirations.
yeah. Like, so personally, I feel like, Mo Salah currently is like my favorite player in the world, actually, because few people have been consistently doing for the last 3 years what he's done. Right. Few players, like,
Mm-hmm.
all across the leagues in the world. Like, even if you look at La Liga and like even Messi, Ronaldo, he's been matching those numbers for the last 3 years consistently. He's got two golden
Mm-hmm.
boots. He was very unlucky to not have his third consecutive golden boot last season. I think he missed it by a goal or something like that. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I think Mo Salah is like one of the best players in the world currently, and I'm very excited to see what he does because both Mane and Salah are essentially this season was when they entered their prime. The next 3 seasons they have to consistently play at the level that they've been playing for the last 2 3 years, with providing the numbers and the skill and the and step up to what the team requires them to do. If Klopp and Liverpool have to be remembered in the same way that they were remembered, like 2 3 decades back, wherein the
Yeah,
transition
definitely,
post Klopp
definitely.
also becomes smooth, and Liverpool are a team that every player in the world want to work and play for, even
No, no,
though there is injuries.
I think Jurgen Klopp that way is a good manager to do that because he's done that previously
Yeah, so he said that
uh,
I would like to stay at Liverpool. When he
at
signed
Dortmund.
the contract extension, he said that the reason I do it is because I want to be able to be sure that even when I'm not here, certain things about me and my style of play can be left behind, and people can execute based on that ideology and culture that I have instilled, because it's a lot of work
But
that
you have to as a business and as a footballing institution, you have to know that nothing is gonna last forever. So you need to
yes,
have that plan for a rainy
plan
day.
for
If
the
things
future, for the
just start
transition.
going south, what the fuck?
Yeah.
United at the same time, they have this issue that they don't have a fucking clue.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they're just hoping, they're just like throwing this at them, they're throwing that at them, and they're just hoping that
So, just so that
everything
I
is
can
just
make
gonna
my
be okay.
point regarding VVD, right? I'm just waiting for Thiago and Matip to come back from injury. So, the reason that Matip,
Mm-hmm.
the problem is he's super injury prone, and that is why we got him cheaper. Actually, like we knew when we were buying him that he's cheap, but he's actually a great defender. We've not seen much of him because he's so injury prone. But most of the games that he plays, Liverpool keep a clean sheet, and he also makes a goal every alternate game that he plays. He's a great header of the ball in the
Yeah.
box, out of corners, and he's a great defender. He's a really really good defender actually. He's a very four-sided defender, unlike Gomez, who depends on his speed and his good one-on-one tackling. So he's like that BVD player, but just not so good. Basically, like he's like the BVD defender. So if he can step up, because VVD is not there this season, and be able to string in even 10, 12 games, and
Mm-hmm.
currently, like, we are playing along with Gomez. We've been playing Fabinho, who's also injured now, but he'll be back as soon as Thiago. I think after the international break, Thiago will be back for sure, but Fabinho should be back. And yeah, Fabinho schooled Timo Werner against Chelsea opening of the season. So
Yeah.
yeah, Fabinho is a great player. Like, he's basically plays CDM, and it's easier for him to play centre back because he's anyway such a great tackler of the ball, and everything is in front of him.
Yeah.
There's nothing behind him anymore. So it's actually very easy for him to play that role. So I am not very worried because we do have enough people. We've been playing our youth team defenders currently because Klopp loves doing that, and because both Matip and Fabinho are not there. Nat Phillips played a great game against who was the other team that we have in our Champions League group, man? Against Atalanta, right? Who were a great side.
Oh, Atlanta, bro. Atlanta this season, how have they been?
No,
You
so
following
last
the
season they
performance?
scored more goals in the Serie A than most of the
No,
remaining Serie A
not
teams
only the
ever had.
Serie A, bro. They were like, I think in the
They were
world
the
standings, they
quarterfinalists or
were up there.
semi-finalists, the quarterfinalists
Yeah.
last, and
Yeah.
they were
No, but
very unlucky.
they were playing some brilliant attacking
So
football, bro.
yeah,
Like
Liverpool
brilliant.
schooled them, man. Liverpool schooled them. Diogo Jota scored like probably a perfect hat trick. Like I've not seen a lot of people score a hat. Like he took one. There was one goal he chipped. Okay, like he took from outside the box, dribbled and chipped on top of a keeper. he took one ball from Gomez, which was a long ball, ripped it off of his hair, took it off of the air, took a touch, put the defender on his backside, took a touch on his left foot,
Hmm.
brought it onto his right foot and put it into the corner. And then he picked up one pass from outside his box, and basically the keeper came out and he bounced the ball under his foot to have to deceive the keeper and the defender and scored it into the corner by taking the ball wide. Okay.
Wow, that's a
So, and
lot
if
of
you see that touch,
visualization too
if you see
for
that
our
touch,
viewers
yeah,
if they
yeah, and
haven't
if you
seen
see that touch,
it.
right, if you see that touch for the last goal, if you just go back after this podcast and you see that touch, right, that he made, it was so slick that in real time you couldn't even see that touch. You understand? But if he wouldn't have made that
Yeah,
touch,
yeah, yeah. No, no,
it
I get
would
what you mean.
have gotten it. So there was this great meme I saw of this small black kid having to look into the camera and going like, "Ooh, that's me," and it read that Fernando
So,
Torres.
G, how much time do we have left?
5 minutes maybe. We're rounding up like, basically after
Okay,
this.
so just before we so you just finish your point now, and
Yeah,
then
so I'm
what
just
we'll
saying that,
do is
man,
we will
the
just
hat trick. I just had to give that
yeah, yeah, yeah. Finish
shout
it.
out for
Yeah.
that hat trick that he scored. Because Atlanta were the toughest team in the group. They've been scoring goals like it's a joke. Even in the Champions League this season, they put like they were two behind Michelin and they just put four like it's a joke, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, like basically. That was a great hat trick. If Diego Jota is really what I saw in that game, then I fear Bobby Firmino's place in this team. I fear for the rest of the Premier League if this front three can level it up, because now they'll have three goal scorers, all very clinical, right? So I'm not going to
Mhm.
be premature in having to make my claim right now, but he's been scoring, like he scored the winner in the last three Premier League games for us as well, apart from this hat trick. So
Okay.
yeah, he's a great player, basically. So we school Atalanta, and my point was that Nat Phillips and these young players were great because Gomez has been doing this leadership role, and Allison is back.
It's very encouraging when you have good youth players coming up and they're
Yeah, yeah,
able to
and
slot into the
when
team.
you've
Like
got Allison
we,
behind
we
you, you anyway have the confidence that if you make a
it's you
mistake,
have that
somebody will say,
security, dude. Like
yeah,
for us, for United, it's like we had Tuanzebe playing against Basak Tahir,
right.
and he got taken off at halftime. It wasn't. I mean,
Yeah, I saw
obviously
that.
he didn't
Yes,
do
yeah, gave
great,
it
but
for
it
nine. I was
wasn't.
very happy that they started him, but then he got
No,
taken
but
off.
he's a really good defender. But then at the same time, as a younger player, okay, first of all, who the fuck do you have to support you? You got Harry Maguire playing next to you. You got Luke Shaw playing next to you. They're all clowns. Now you get taken off at halftime. It wasn't just his fault, dude. Like, there were
Man,
worse players playing
he
that
didn't
day.
keep a clean sheet, but he defended. I don't know if he kept a clean sheet or not, but he defended against Mbappe and Neymar. That's saying something for a kid coming out of the English Youth Academy of United, going on to a big
Man,
away
that'll be one of
challenge.
the biggest mysteries of 2020 of how United managed to play good football that day.
Yeah, but
But okay, let's
just to round off
yeah, sorry,
my
go on.
point, right? I'm not worried about VVD being out, because even if you see our defense being really bad, it was because Adrian was in goal, because there was no Allison and VVD for the couple of games, including that Aston Villa 7-2. And it started with Adrian giving away that goal, like playing it into the defender's feet, basically.
But that
The
was like a that was like a
striker's
freak
feet, sorry.
accident, man. That I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm just saying that our defense is going to be in shambles if there is no Allison, because Allison, he makes more saves than people can see actually. So even in the
Bro,
last game
just
against
give me
Atalanta,
just give me a moment. You keep talking, yeah. I'm
yeah,
just
so
going
even
on
in
mute
the
for a
last
minute.
game against Atalanta, right? Like all I was saying was that we did win 5-0. Jota came up and arrived as a world, like he isn't a world class talent, but proved that he can be one. But Allison made like 4 or 5 saves, and nobody even knew about it. Like because his starting positions are so good that you don't even realize once he makes a save. And he's a great stopper of the ball. He's probably the best keeper in the world. There's a reason that he starts ahead of Ederson in the Brazil squad as well. So yeah, man, I'm not worried about DD not being there. I mean, of course, if he was there, Liverpool were clear favorites to win the Premier League, and possibly, if not clear favorites, they were the main contenders for Bayern this year to go all the way in the Champions League as well. So yeah, but that being said, I really want to see Klopp and this Liverpool team at some time in the next 4 years with the double, man. Or I don't know if they'll do the treble, because Klopp doesn't know the spelling of FA Cup or Carabao Cup. He plays like under 18 reserves. So yeah, I'm not very worried about DVD being out. We do have enough cover for that position, basically. So that's good. Electric, are you still here? Where did you go away? Electric, electric, electrical. Where are you, man?
Hello, can you hear
So,
me?
yeah, now I can. You're back.
No, my
I was wondering,
uh,
why did the electricity go off?
no, my AirPods just disconnected because my phone was
Okay,
ringing, so they connected to my phone. That's why I
right.
just went on mute. I connected them again, and now the
Yeah, so I
microphone's
made
now.
my point though. I made my point about VVD and a lot of things. So that's great. Like,
Yeah,
I don't
no.
know if you
So
heard me.
I'll tell you what. Let's wrap up. Let's just talk about the fixtures that are coming up now.
Yeah, let's do
Okay.
that. Let's do that.
Match day 8 now. Okay. So let's just talk about some of the fixtures that are coming. So I'll just name the fixtures now,
Hmm.
and let's just we don't have to get too technical. Let's just think like predictions, sort of predictions.
Right.
A little bit of insight, any of the players, if you know too many. Obviously, we don't know every single player on every single Premier League team, but
Hmm.
we can just have a little bit of a chat about it for like 5 minutes, and then we
Right.
wrap up.
Right.
Um, yeah, the first match is Brighton and Burnley. What are your
Okay.
opinions on your Vishesh Tippy?
I think Brighton win that game, man. I've been very impressed with Brighton going forward. They've just been leaking goals. I think they've been very unlucky for not having more points that they already have because they've come up against big teams, but they fared
Mhm.
very well. And Burnley have been very abysmal this season. Honestly,
Okay, so
yeah,
let me get a little bit statistical.
right,
Um, so Burnley are currently 16th,
yeah,
and they have scored 11 goals and they've conceded 14.
right.
Okay, and oh wow, Burnley are last. Burnley have not even won a single game,
Yeah,
and
that's
they've
what I'm saying.
only
They've been
scored
abysmal.
3 goals and
Yeah.
they've conceded 12. Not looking good for the, I mean, whatever the nickname of Burnley is. Um, yeah.
Even I forgot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Through that. Okay. So I'm not gonna put my money on Burnley, nor should anyone. I mean,
No,
the
no.
odds
And
would be
Brighton
great.
have a very strong attack. I don't know if Mope is playing, but even without him, they've
I
got
mean, that
Solly March
Motley
and
guy
all
is
these
next
players.
level, bro. Next level. Even that other dude, Lamptey.
Lamptey, and they've got Lalana, man. Lalana is like trying to prove what he is about towards the end of his career, like why he's regarded such a technically and talented player,
Okay.
basically.
All
So
right.
yeah.
Next one. Southampton, Newcastle.
Oh,
That's
tough
going
game
to
to
be an
call, man.
interesting game.
Tough
Yeah,
game to call.
interesting
It's a
game,
good game.
definitely.
Interesting game because
And who?
Southampton are on the up. I think Ralph
But
Hasenhüttl.
he's injured.
Yeah, Ings is injured. That's a big miss for them. That's a huge miss for them. So purely because Ings is injured, I'll either go for a draw or a Newcastle win because Newcastle recently beat Everton and they
I
seem to be,
think
have something
Watkins is
going
in
for them.
great form.
They seem to have something going for them.
Yeah, even I might just go Newcastle
But
this
I
week.
think I wouldn't be surprised if it's a 1-1 or 0-0 draw either, basically. Because
Yeah, it could go either way. Not
yeah,
too sure about this one. Okay,
yeah,
next
yeah.
one: Crystal Palace and Leeds United.
Crystal Palace and Leeds. I'll go for Leeds, man.
Crystal Palace are so it's 12th versus 13th. Leeds are
Yeah, I
12th.
know, I
Crystal
know.
Palace is
So
13th.
I think about Leeds, they're a great side, a lot of energy going forward. They leak a lot of goals because of the system that they play. But that's a problem for them against big teams. That's why they lose against big teams. But against the smaller teams, they're going to find it very difficult to
But
come
the
up
way
against
they took
Leeds.
care of Aston Villa in that
Yeah, yeah,
first,
yeah.
first
So
like
3-0
the
Bamford hat
first
trick.
game
Yeah,
of the end,
yeah.
bro, it was next level, dude.
No,
Next
man,
level.
Bielsa is an amazing footballing mind. His system works. It's a lot like Klopp. Where it's heavy metal, very like players run more than the other team, and they're very high intensity, high pressing. But they don't have the defensive line because of that, because their fullbacks go up, but they score a lot of goals because of that. So a
But
team
they
like
play great
yeah, and the
football,
team
bro.
like Crystal Palace, right, who sit back and play on the counter with Ayu and Zaha, I think if they break them down with one goal, it's going to be
But
very difficult for
Zaha
Crystal
is
Palace.
very inconsistent, bro. Very fucking inconsistent. Like
Come again,
he
very.
has all the
Zaha is very.
attributes to become a big player, but like it's just not happening for
No,
him.
say that again. Zaha is what? Very inconsistent.
I'm saying he's very inconsistent, bro. You
Okay,
can't
yeah.
rely on that. Some days he'll score like two, three, two, not three,
But
two,
this
maybe
season he's been
twice, one
scoring. I don't
score.
know. Can you check how many goals Zaha has this season? I think he's got a good 6, 7
I'll
goals.
I'll check. Uh,
We can just go to the FPL
Wilfred.
app and check, right? I think he's in the top 10
I'll
list.
just Google it now. 1 second.
Season stats. Um,
Yeah. So Zaha this season has scored
five.
5 goals and 7
Yeah,
matches with one
5
assist.
goals.
That's
Yeah.
pretty good, but I
That's
don't
a
think it's
fact.
going to stay that.
If he keeps a 15-goal season, like I think Zaha can be a better player at a better team, basically. He's stuck around at Crystal Palace for too long, where he doesn't have enough service to be able to show his
But
qualities.
who's going to buy him, bro? He's past it now. He's
United were
27.
interested at some point, 2 years back.
United sold him.
Oh, United sold him and they wanted to buy him back then.
He
Yeah.
was Fergie's last signing. No, we
Yeah, he
didn't
was
want to buy
Fergie's
him.
last
We
signing.
got
Yeah,
that
yeah.
Memphis Depay, who
Right,
was
right.
another legend.
Right. So,
Uh,
what's the next game? So I think
Okay,
I'm going for Leeds. Sorry, what is your call? I'm going for Leeds for that
I'm going for Leeds as well.
Yeah,
I'm going
yeah.
for Leeds as
I don't know the
well.
score line, but yeah.
Okay, this is a big game. Big game, this one. Everton, Manchester United.
Oh, I'm so sorry, man. I have to go with Everton.
I think Oli might just get sacked if United lose
Yeah.
badly.
I hope he
I don't know.
does. But let me also say this,
United,
Electric. Let me just say this here, right? I will not be surprised if Oli wins against Everton just to keep his job, because United have this tendency to do well against the bigger teams, though Everton's not a big team. But this season, they're a big team for the current form.
But the major decider will be, is James going to play?
Yeah, that's it. If James doesn't play, then United have a great
75% chance of playing on
No,
FPL.
so I think who's playing instead of James? Sigurdsson? I think they're playing Sigurdsson. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Sigurdsson is done. He's past it now. He's done. He's
Yeah, yeah. So they're playing Sigurdsson. If he can provide, maybe. But like, yeah, it's gonna be a tight game. This is at. Wait, so are they playing at Goodison or are they playing at Old Trafford?
Goodison, I think.
Oh, it's a tough game, my friend.
Yeah, Goodison.
It's a tough game for you guys.
But United are better away than at home.
Yeah, season. Yeah. So I don't know. It's a difficult game to call.
We'll just quickly go over the rest of them.
No, wait. Let's stick to this game. It's an important game. I think it's a difficult game to call. Oli might win it, but honestly, man, if Everton lose this game tomorrow, all right, they're out of contention for even my top four. Like let alone those early people who are talking about a title challenge. I knew that's never happening. But Everton need to start digging out results like these if they have to prove that they've arrived under the Carlo Ancelotti project, basically. So it's a huge game for Everton, a huge game for United, of course, but it's also a huge game for Everton. It's tomorrow or day after?
Yeah, tomorrow at 6 p.m.
Tomorrow 6 p.m. Huge game. Huge game. I think we should watch it together. Huge game.
Yeah, let's do it, bro. Let's do it. I told you we're doing a drinking game, bro.
Yeah, we are. And Liverpool City are playing day after. So we should probably meet for that as well. But go ahead, anyhow. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's wait. Okay. So next game is Chelsea Sheffield. Sheffield are 19th. They've won 0.
Yeah.
They've scored 3 and they've conceded 10.
The Blades, man, the Blades. So I love what they did last season, but this season again they've got a great attack, but they've just not been winning. So,
bro, last season they had that our guy, bro, Henderson.
Dean Henderson, Dean Henderson.
Yeah,
15 clean sheets, I think. Yeah.
Now they're just like conceding goals left, right, and center.
Right,
So,
and they signed Ryan Brewster. So we gave them Ryan Brewster and bought Jota. Like
Are you trying to tell me he's the next coming of?
No. So I mean, I don't know. He's not proven himself at all. But like Klopp and like his fellow teammates like Milner and all used to talk very highly of him. He scored a lot of goals in pre-season for Liverpool. He scored a lot of goals on loan to Derby as well. That's the reason Liverpool got him back. But they initially said that they put him on loan. I think now he's been sold. It's on loan, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he's got a lot of talent. He's a young kid. He's grown up watching Trent play. I don't know, man, but he seems to be lost in the first. He's played only 2 games for Sheffield. He seems to be lost right now. So let's see how that pans out. But he was scoring goals when he was getting chances at Liverpool because people were feeding the ball to him. But Chelsea should win it very easily, man. I expect a 3-0 or something like that.
Yeah, I'm expecting a goal fast by them.
Yeah.
Okay, West Ham and Fulham. Mr. David Moyes has been on quite a
an ascendancy. He's in the ascendancy.
Yeah. Mr. Moyes is he showing people why
the prodigy, the chosen one, the chosen one for West Ham. Let's see, for West Ham.
For West Ham. Yeah.
Okay. So Mikel Antonio is injured, and he's a great player.
He's injured. Okay, no. Then
he was injured for the last game. We played West Ham last week. That's the reason we won, probably, I guess, like so easily as well, because there was no Mikel Antonio. I think, but Liverpool had it very easy because they really stepped up their game in the second half. So yeah, I mean they were trailing, I think, and they came back. Yes, they did. So they were trailing. There was a goal that they conceded because defense again. Like I mean. I think whoever was playing again next to Gomez gave some time to a guy in the box. And yeah, it was in the corner, so Allison could not save it, though he was very disappointed. But they came back. They came back. Jota scored the winning goal.
Yeah.
I think that was the
I
game
don't
where
have
that
much hope
amazing
for
ball
Fulham as well.
Shaqiri put in for Jota, basically. And
Yeah.
yeah, and there was a goal disallowed in VAR as well. So Klopp loved the attitude of the players, and we scored. There was an amazing ball by Shaqiri. So
Yeah.
yeah, like great ball through the legs, massive vision. So yeah, like I mean, West Ham have been doing very well. If they were playing anybody else but Liverpool, they would have probably gotten points of that game as well. Like Jota scored in the last few minutes, I think. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so if they were playing a team that does not know how to give out results like Liverpool have come to find to know in the last 2 years, they could have easily gotten a result out of that as well.
I love how we always just go back to Liverpool or United.
Yeah. I think that's what this is going to be about in
I
the
think
near
we need to
future.
get more people for like more of an
No, we will.
unbiased
We'll bring a
opinion.
Chelsea fan or something into it. At
Yeah,
some
we
point.
throw someone in the mix, yeah. But okay, so next game, Tottenham West Brom,
No, so West Ham are playing who? Um,
Fulham.
okay, they'll win easily, man. I think West Ham should
I
win.
think
They're a
Fulham are
different kind of
nothing,
a
bro.
beast, as Klopp said. They're a different kind of a beast this season. So, yeah, it's gonna be.
Let's see how long that stands. Okay, so next one, West Brom versus Tottenham.
Oh, easy Spurs win. West Brom have also been pretty abysmal. Like
Lots of goals from Son, Bale, and Harry Kane.
no, I think Kane shall score an assist and maybe a goal for Son. Maybe a goal for Son. But I expect
Okay,
goals from Harry Kane. I'm captaining him this week. So
and I've been captaining him for the last like God knows how many
yeah.
weeks. I
No, I'm
captained
just choosing him over
Salah for
Salah.
1 week and I fucking
Yeah.
lost so many points. I was like, fuck this, I'm not doing this.
I'm choosing him over Salah.
Um, yeah. Okay, now we've got Leicester City and Wolves. Interesting. Could be a
Very,
cracking game.
very interesting game. Very
Very
interesting.
close, very edgy game.
Very edgy
I
game. But I think
I
I'll give it
definitely
to
wow, Wolves
Leicester.
are oh no. Leicester are second, Wolves are sixth. But
Yeah,
they're
I
not
think
that
I'll
far
give it to
apart.
Leicester, but I think I'll go for a draw. Like, I think it will be like a 2-2 draw or something like that, or a
If
1-1 draw.
Wolves win this, they are going ahead of Leicester in the league.
Yeah. So, and I wouldn't be surprised if it can go either way, man. If Madison and Harvey Barnes perform, basically Leicester win. But Wolves have got a lot of firepower with Semedo and Podence and Jimenez. Wolves look very good, very dangerous this season. Like,
Yeah.
very
Portugal
dangerous.
Portugal light, bro. Portugal light is what we
Yeah, Portugal
refer to
light, but
Wolves as.
very dangerous this season. And they've got good squad depth because they're playing in Europa as well. They can bring on players like João Moutinho and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, very dangerous.
Okay.
So it can go either
Arsenal,
way.
Aston Villa.
Arsenal, Aston Villa. Again, interesting game, but I think Arsenal are going to win on current form, man. I think Arteta
I'd
is
say
playing very
Aston
well.
Villa. I'd say a redemption story for Aston Villa.
Right. No,
I
I
think
think
I
I
think
think
they've
Auba
lost.
scores
Aston
tomorrow.
Villa's lost. I'm sorry.
I think Auba is going to come back to goal scoring form tomorrow and get one goal at least.
Bro, he got 1 goal against United, and
Yeah.
that doesn't count.
Yeah. Though I think
Scoring
now
against
that
United
you
does not
ask
mean
me
you
all
score.
this, um, I think kind of I agree with you about how Arsenal are a bogey team because now that you ask me about having to whether what's going to happen when they're playing Aston Villa tomorrow, I wouldn't be surprised if they lose or draw. And that's not a team that qualifies for Champions League or plays in the Champions League or wins the league for that matter, right?
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
guess what? Aston Villa have one. So Aston Villa are eighth, and Arsenal are ninth, and Aston Villa have 1 game in hand.
yeah, they have a game in hand. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I mean,
And Aston Villa are very interesting
I think
because
they bounce back.
the addition of Ross Barkley, of course, Grealish we knew last season, and Ollie Watkins is doing well. But with Ollie Watkins, Ross Barkley, and Grealish together, right? Like Grealish can bring the ball in from the deep, Barkley can create, and Ollie Watkins can score. So they've got their roles very clearly defined, and nobody has to do any sort of heavy lifting in that team, provided they all play their own roles. So as long as they don't come up against a team like Leeds or Liverpool, okay, fuck, I can't wait to play Aston Villa again this season and just.
I'll pay you 100 rupees if you don't say Liverpool for the next 5 minutes.
Okay, fuck Liverpool, all right. Like, but okay, if they don't come up against a team like Chelsea, for example, who got the players up front, or like Leeds, who are very good in transition and can score a lot of goals
Yeah.
on the counter, right? They'll do very well, I feel, like basically.
No, but
this
I'm
entire
again
season.
coming back to the point of the game. I think Aston Villa are going to win this.
Yeah, I wouldn't be
I
surprised
have
at
a
a
gut
draw, but
feeling.
I think I'll go against you, man. I think Arsenal win tomorrow. I think
I
Arsenal
mean,
win
that's the kind of TRP ratings we need, bro.
tomorrow. Right.
Yeah. Okay. Now let's come to the cream of the crop.
All right.
Liverpool versus City.
Blue chip Premier
Who
League
have you got
football.
and why? Should I even be asking you this question?
Blue chip Premier League football, man. This is what the Premier League is about. This is the quality of the Premier League right now. It's a really good rivalry. It's like that Arsenal Man United rivalry that's starting to brew between City and Liverpool in the last 2-3 years
Yeah, yeah.
in the league. Pep and Klopp, like they have a lot of respect for each other, but you can tell that Pep is fucking pissed with Klopp, man. Like you can tell that Pep just doesn't like it that Klopp has one on him because had it not been for this.
Klopp just has his number, dude.
No, because had it not been for Liverpool and Klopp being on the rise, City would we were talking about City dominating the Premier League for the next 7-8 years, and
Fucking
basically,
belly for the
yeah, and he's just come in to spoil the party, when Guardiola joined City, he thought that, oh my God, this is me being Barcelona Guardiola again, just in the Premier League. I've got all the money, the Sheikh money. I can sign whoever I want. I can show England the beautiful football they've been waiting for. And it sounded like a very well written script for him. He came in, scored 100 points, made Sterling the player that he is. Aguero was scoring goals. KDB came onto the scene. David Silva rounded off his career so well. And they won a lot of trophies. They broke smash records. It looked like Guardiola has a right to have to show a league how much of a farmer league they are without his mind
Yeah,
in it.
he was supposed to be the
So
chosen.
there was such a huge gap between City and all of the rest of the Premier League. At one point of time, they won the league with 25 points or 30 points second.
I think you're right.
United, yeah. And and then Jurgen Klopp comes in and says, "Hang on, man! The Germans are still alive. I'm still alive, right? You do not fuck with a guy who's won 2 Bundesligas against Bayern, who Bayern has raided his entire squad and is out for redemption. And yeah, Klopp had got offers from a lot of clubs at the time, and he said that I like playing for I like managing the underdogs because that's the kind of manager that I am. And he said that when
Yeah,
Liverpool called, it sounded perfect, because the club had a culture, they had a huge fan base, they wanted to get back to the top, there was money. He came up with the condition that I have final cut on transfers and no transfer committee, and Michael Edwards, the sporting director, who's doing such a great job with all these transfers, makes decisions with me and has got carte blanche along with me. And he's got this philosophy called the Holy Trinity, like the fans, the manager, and the players. He says that if this Holy Trinity is together, then there's very little that you can do about a football club. So, as long as all three of them are compatible and are thinking the same thing, that's why he created this entire, he removed all the quotes that were there of Bob Paisley and wrote intensity is our identity. And he did that entire doubters, believers, achievers sort of thing, because he understood the sentiment of the fans, and he understood that players will always be nervous, especially considering the atmosphere at Anfield, if fans don't believe in them, you know. And there's huge standards that Liverpool fans expect because from their players, because they've been going to the club for the last 70 years. You can't make a fool of them. They can tell what is good football and bad football. And even if you lose, if they see that there is something in the works, they'll still stand by you. So Klopp, man, yeah, man, Klopp came in and he said that he had his own plans, and they seem to be materializing in the last year or so. He's had like 5-6 games over Guardiola, and I feel that after the 4-3 game, there was a 0-0 that Liverpool played with City where they missed a penalty, and Guardiola was asked that it's not your style of play, and he says that Liverpool are the best team in Europe in transition. So if you go out with a plan to attack and they catch you on the counter,
yeah.
you will be punished, even if you are Manchester City. So he literally conceded to Klopp's tactical genius, with that statement basically, and
I
he
mean, but
respects him
that's
a
what
lot. So
like
so
the
City,
whole
if you see City play, they play all sorts of they've got a very clear identity when they're playing any side in the Premier League or the Champions League. But when they play Liverpool, they play very
the
differently. So yeah, they're very cautious,
so
which makes it
same
difficult. It makes it a very interesting game tomorrow. It gets very
yeah,
hard for me
it's
to
a very
call
interesting game. It's
Liverpool City
basically like
games.
rock paper scissors,
Yeah,
you know.
and on their day, either team can just have one over the other, like basically. And these are the kind of games where I worry about VVD not being there. Because if Aguero plays tomorrow and he comes and a and a youth academy player comes up against the Kun Aguero who loves scoring against Liverpool, right? And he just gets
Yeah.
schooled, right? And a couple of goals go in. That puts a lot of pressure. I'm not saying Liverpool still can't do it. It puts a lot of pressure on our front line to have to make up for those goals. So I expect Klopp to also compensate with his tactical, free-flowing football
I'm
tomorrow.
expecting a goal fest.
Like I think he'll make
Uh,
compromises as well. Come again?
no, I'm expecting a goal fest in this game. I think it's
Actually,
going to be like
I wouldn't be surprised if there's a goal fest either because City are leaking goals this season. So and
I
so are Liverpool. So and both
I
of them have got enough firepower. So
yeah, I think what is going to happen is if Manchester City win this game, they are just going to keep alive their hopes
yeah,
of
yeah. And you'd be
mounting a
surprised, City are actually playing very well. They lost to Leicester and all that stuff.
No, bro, they need to win this game. They need to win this game. There's no coming back if they lose this. They're hoping
Yeah,
for
you're right, bro.
Liverpool.
I think you're right because the pressure is higher on City to win this game than it is on Liverpool because Liverpool already have accumulated points on the top and it will be just a one goal difference even if City win the game in hand, 1 point difference. So, and Liverpool are very confident right now, so I'm sure they'll be able to string, a bunch of results. City have got new players. They're getting used to David Silva not being around. Kun Aguero is injured most of the time these days. So KDB was injured in the middle. Now he's back. So yeah, Guardiola seems to be playing him in a 10 and not playing him in a 10. He's playing Foden very often right now. So they're like Guardiola seems to be a little unsure about what to do with his current group of players. Like not unsure, he's just not as sure as he normally is. So that's all I'll say. Like what I'd say here is that it's going to be a very interesting game for sure. And yes, I do expect a goal fest. And if there is a goal fest, I expect Liverpool to edge it just based on current form and current mentality of the players. They really want to retain this Premier League. I can see it by the way they're playing currently. VVD or no VVD, they really want to prove that they can retain this league. All these people, Mane, Salah, Firmino, Van Dijk, they want as many trophies in the cabinet so that they're not questioned about how great they are because they know they're really good, but they need the silverware to back it up. In hindsight.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's how it is. So I think I'd go for a 3-2 to Liverpool actually.
I think I
Yeah,
go 2-1 City.
2-1 City. Yeah, I would expect a 2-1 Liverpool or a 3-2 Liverpool, one of the two.
All right, cool.
So
Cool.
yeah, that's
Cool.
how it sounds currently. But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I would totally believe the 2-1.
Yeah.
As I said, if it's not Liverpool's day, right, your scoreline might come out to be true because whoever we play at the back, unless Fabinho makes a surprise visit, I wouldn't be surprised if Klopp has kept the Thiago return under the carpet as a surprise
Mm-hmm.
sort of starter for this
Might
game
be.
because he's been training for the last couple of weeks. He's not traveled with the Champions League squad or anything, but he's been training, individually at Anfield, at
Okay.
Melwood, sorry, right? And he's been making his way back from that injury in the Everton game. So I wouldn't be surprised if he just throws him on to the second half if you're trailing, so that there's more creativity in midfield. And he gets one of these midfield players because they have a stronger midfield than Liverpool, but Liverpool have a stronger front line than them. So the
Yeah,
game is going to be won and lost in midfield tomorrow. So whoever can control the midfield tomorrow
We're
wins the
gonna
game.
get a cracking game, that's for sure.
Yeah, cracking game, cracking game.
What
And
I'm
we're going to watch
expecting
it
is
together.
football.
We're going to watch it together.
Yeah, we'll watch it together.
All right, man.
We'll figure.
It's almost 6:15. I'm going to go.
Yeah, man. It's been a long ass podcast.
Long as chat. We'll see what to do about editing it, putting it up if we ever do. But it was a great talk, man. Like for the first talk, I really enjoyed this. I like talking about football. I love discussing football. It's a beautiful game. As I said, I've been watching it for such a long time that I feel like there is so much to talk about this game. And
And we can
there's
go on for another 6 hours if we have
yeah,
to.
if someone
So
doesn't
much,
stop us,
so much to
basically.
discuss. But yeah, hopefully we're gonna have that
No,
opportunity.
that's why when I thought about having to have this conversation with you, and because we're so passionate about it, and because there's great things happening in the Premier League and in world football right now. We're in a very interesting time currently, basically.
And we've got such differing opinions about this as well.
Yeah,
You've been
yeah,
a
yeah.
little
Yeah.
United fan, you're on the uptick right now. You're looking towards the top
Yeah.
of the table.
Yeah.
You're trying to avoid relegation, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so
yeah,
that's,
it sounds good. Let's watch the games and then let's come back and do this again. Let's not analyze the games, but let's see what happens over the weekend, over the games that we predicted, and probably do this again next week.
yeah, bro.
Yeah,
Chalo,
we talk about
let's call it a day here today.
yeah. Let's call it a day here
Alright.
today. Absolutely.